Wendy Bell Radio is live, but with JD Rucker.
I identify as Wendy. We established this yesterday. I
Do,
am
do
now.
you?
I go by Wendy Bell, but I spell it with an I instead of a Y, and I put an E at the end of Bell. So I'm Wendy Bell.
Wow.
Bella. That's
Wow.
okay. and and the crowd leaves. They're like, "We're not putting up with this crap."
Let me say to the fantasy football players in the Wendy Bell Radio Fantasy Football League, I reactivated the league. You should have gotten an email. Uh, so check your email. I have not set a date for the draft yet, but I will. And don't forget, I'll get this out of the way early. Sniper, disinfectwithsniper.com. Clean everything from your kids to your dog beds to your bed to countertops, bathrooms, kitchens, cars, your kids' sports equipment, your kids' backpack because they're going to get sick. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com. 20% off all of August for Sniper, but you can also get Knockout and Mouse Magic and Deadweed Brew and all kind of stuff that's all organic and all safe to be around your kids and pets. Disinfectwithsniper.com, 20% off.
Hello, everybody. Good audience today. How do we do? I didn't even look. How do we do on likes yesterday? Did we break 1,000?
Yes.
We did.
We broke 1,000 during the show.
During the show.
Yeah.
All right. Today we're going for 7,000. That's the ticket. And don't forget, we just need like 800 more people. So go find your friends and family.
Yeah.
Anybody out there?
Strangers.
Strangers. Strangers are actually better. There's no stranger danger here. We are an equal opportunity podcast. We believe that everybody should be listening, regardless of their belief systems, regardless of their politics, their orientation, what planet they're from.
I was telling you before the show, I was texting my socialist friend who does his own internet radio right now, or podcast. And I was texting him up until a minute before he went on the air. And he sent me a link to come on the air with him. And, I noticed that from one of the commenters on there, she was 23 years old and said that they're open to socialism because they don't feel they'll ever be able to afford a house. And I said, well, don't you think that 20 million people getting brought into this country illegally can change that? That changed that. It made the housing market go up, And I said, and no offense, you're 23 years old. You got to pay your dues. You got to learn what you want to do and learn how to do it. You shouldn't be thinking about buying a house at 23. I'm sure someone out there bought a house at 23. I wasn't one of them. So it was an interesting conversation. He would not admit there was any kind of election shenanigans. And I said, "Did you see NBC and Steve Kornacki?" I said, "Watch the clip. Watch his body language." But it was interesting.
Nice.
He said half the people hated me. At least half of the people hated me. But it is what it is.
Nice.
It's always good when you can get people to hate you.
Trying to pull the betting markets to see who's going to be the next press secretary. Who we got here? They like Scott Jennings, but I've seen two different ones. I like Scott Jennings, but I don't think
he's going to take the pay cut. All right, here we go. 10 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program. From JDRucker.com and the Discern Report, filling in for Wendy is J.D. Rucker.
God bless America. You know, we always say that at the end of the show. I'm going to start off with that. We need blessings so badly in this country right now. We need everybody out there to wake up and say, Lord, please bless us. Please bless this nation, because we need blessings, perhaps more than ever. We can go back to the Revolutionary War, the Civil War. We can go back to 9/11, all the various crazy things that have been happening. And yet, I think that now, I know I can feel it. I can feel two conflicting worldviews. I can feel this surge, and it really is starting to surge more so than I think I've ever seen, at least in my lifetime. This surge of desire. I wouldn't necessarily call it patriotism. Okay, I mean, it's definitely, there is a patriotic tilt to it. But I wouldn't say that it's the patriotism that I'm feeling. We had lots of patriotism after 9/11. That was amazing. Now, I think that there's more of a hope and a desire that we can get through all of this weird stuff. Everything that's happening in the WNBA. I know I always say I'm never going to talk about it again, and then I do because it's crazy. All the stuff that's happening with the Iran war, with this alleged divide in MAGA. I don't think there really is a divide, not in true MAGA, but at least they're trying to manufacture it with the woke Reich is, I guess, what they're calling it now. But there is the secondary worldview, which is rising, that's what's brought about the Democratic Socialists of America. It's what's brought about all of this hate towards ICE, hate towards Trump, hate towards anybody that supports either ICE or Trump or both, which I happen to be one of them. And they're just as bad, in my humble opinion, right now, as even the communists in days past, the hippies. And I know many of you listening, maybe you used to be a hippie. I get it. You had your reasons. You had your phase. But their hatred for America, I don't think matches the hatred that a lot of these people are feeling. And so we're heading in different directions. Some of us are loving America more every day, and others are hating America more every day. And I don't know if it's time to call for unity or if it's time to call for just a complete separation and divorce. We'll be talking a little bit about that today. But first, let's start off with the obligatory and extremely important Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen to that. You know, the sudden retirement, or I guess not, I'm sure she'll be back in some form or fashion, but she's leaving the White House as a press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt. And I've been looking at some of the people that they're saying will end up replacing her. And I thought it was interesting. I don't know if this was an intentional hint or if it was just sort of, a random thing. But it's conspicuous that 3 hours ago, President Trump posted an image, or is actually a screenshot of a post from somebody whose name has been floated as a possible replacement. He posted an image of Dan Scavino with Carolyn Levitt and their spouses. And I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I'm not going to read too much into it. He didn't put any text with it. He wasn't insinuating necessarily anything, but you know, he does tend to use Truth Social to convey messages, and maybe that's a hint. I've heard other names out there. One of the markets has Alina Haba as the top choice. I think she'd be great. You know, she's an extremely loyal friend to President Trump. She's worked with him before he was president. Before he was president a second time. Obviously, as his attorney, she's worked with him, tried to work with him as a U.S. attorney. Of course, they decided the wokesters, the lawfare judiciary types decide, oh, well, technically speaking, she can't do it. She's not whatever. Such a joke. But yeah, she's been there by his side the whole time. And so I'd like to see that. That's definitely a plausible one. I said yesterday on my show, maybe it was this show, either way, I did say that I actually like Scott Jennings. Now, Brock was telling me this morning he doesn't think that Jennings will do it. Why would he take the pay cut? He's making probably great money from CNN. He's got ambitions in politics in Kentucky. I don't know. I think that if he really does want to be political and he really does want to be in office, then this would be the right path to get there. Sure, he gets great. Well, I wouldn't say great. He gets some exposure on failing CNN. He does get to own the libs on a pretty much a daily basis. So there's that, but it's a limited audience. Whereas as White House press secretary, he would get far more exposure because he would be on, I don't know about every network, but he'd be on most networks, at least at some point. He would be able to get his name out there, name recognition, face recognition, and he would still be owning the libs. It's just in this case, it would be reporters rather than panelists on the various shows that he's on with CNN. So I think he's obviously he would be a good pick. I know that my audience had yesterday, they were talking about wanting who was it? Sean Parnell. I did look on the list. He wasn't listed as they had like the top 16 potential replacements, and his name wasn't on there. Very disappointing. But there were a few out there. Who do you guys think? Who number one, who do you think's going to get it? And number two, who do you want to get it? And for those of you listening on the radio, you can always join the live chat by going to wendybellradio.com, and you'll be tied directly into the Rumble channel where the amazing audience chimes in and says things like that they want to see Brock as the next White House press secretary. Either way, it is a shame. I think it was Stephen Miller. Somebody said yesterday that they thought, and they were being sincere, they thought that Carolyn Levitt was the best press secretary in the last 30 years. That might be true. Could be. I like her. I mean, but now who knows? You know whose name is on the list for whatever reason? One of the betting markets has him on there, and he's at the bottom, but he's still technically on there. And that was Tucker Carlson. Imagine that. Could you picture it? I mean, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but now could you imagine? I mean, I don't think he would take the job. I don't think he would take the pay cut. He's making a whole lot of money doing his thing. But yeah, I mean, that would be a joke. It would be a total joke. And I would say there's literally zero chance, like a 0% chance that President Trump would allow Tucker back in the island. Sarah Huckabee was very good. Jammy notes. She was my favorite. I thought she was the best. I kind of liked her better. Not because she was very knowledgeable, obviously, and all of them have been, except for Scaramucci. He doesn't count. All of them have been very knowledgeable, very, very, very good with the press. I think that where Huckabee came in and sort of differentiated herself is that she was very good at just blah whenever they were blah, right? When they would say something stupid, she wouldn't condemn them per se. She would just be like, whatever, get out of here. And I like that. I like the subtle versus, Carolyn Liv is like, that's the stupidest question I've ever heard. What are you even doing here? Moving along. I love that too. Don't get me wrong. It is what it is. We'll see. No need to speculate. Somebody said Wendy Bell could be press secretary. I'd love to see that. I don't know if she has the patience to deal with. I know I don't. I couldn't do it at all. I would be like, after the first day, I would already be spitting on microphones and yelling at people and throwing my binders at them and probably my shoes and anything else. Yeah. Somebody mentioned Christy Noem. I don't see it. No. I don't see it. I don't see Christy Noem as being a viable, or that she would be very good at it. She wasn't really, neither her nor Pam Bondi, the two of the former cabinet members, neither of them were great at communicating. They really weren't. Which may be, who knows, maybe that's one of the reasons they're gone. But today's show, big show, important show. We're going to be talking about the U.S. Senate. We're going to be talking about the 11 races that will determine what happens, whether or not the Republicans can retain control. Right now, it's 53 to 47. They have I guess, as good of a lead as you can get in today's world, but it's not a safe lead. I mean, the races, this, of course, being a midterm election, the party in power invariably for the last, 4 decades has always lost power. We're trying to buck the trend, make history, as President Trump says, and prevent that from happening. Can we? It's possible, but we have to focus on the 11 races that I'll be talking about today, starting off after the break, right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. And hopefully Brock was on the money.
I was thinking Carrie Lake, since they're holding up the ambassadorship.
She would be amazing. I want her.
Your mic's off.
No. You're
there you go.
My mic's fine. It's you. Your mic's broken, not mine. My mic's always. I'm just gonna stare at you. How's that? I'm gonna stare. Ready? I'm staring at you.
I don't think Wendy would be a good press secretary.
I should be fine.
I don't think she could put up with the BS. I think she'd be good at it, but
I thought you were going to do a clip, so I went in stare mode, but you didn't do one. So
I can.
We don't have to. I mean,
well, no, I can, because
we don't have bills to pay.
We all have roofs over our head, and if something's wrong with your roof, call Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. They do everything on the outside of your house: soffit, fascia, windows, doors, roofs. Now Dan, their son, is into the electrical lighting outside, so check them out. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. If you're here in southwestern Pennsylvania, that's who I would use. If I needed a roof, that's who I would call. Not because I would get a special rate, which I wouldn't, but because they're good, they're fast, and the Amish installers seem to just know what they're doing. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com.
Nice.
Perfect time to call them now to get Dan, since Wendy's not home.
Somebody asked if Carrie Lake is on the list. She is. She's low on the list. So here's the list. And this one, I don't even know who is this. Some group. They send me these emails. Lena Haba, Anna Kelly, who's she's the deputy press secretary. Jen Pellegrino, Roma Haravi, Stephen Chung, Emerald Robinson, Chanel Rion, whose name I forgot yesterday, Scott Jennings, Natalie Harp, and this is in order, by the way, from most to least. Natalie Harp, Jason Miller, Scotty Neal Hughes, interesting. Laura Trump, not going to happen. Carrie Lake, Spencer Pratt, come on. I guess they just had to throw him.
I think Sean Parnell's where he needs to be. He's Pete's right-hand guy, and
yeah,
I don't
Eric
think you
Kirk
take no.
and Tucker Carlson finishing up the list. I like Sean, but I don't know. I mean, he's got a military mind, obviously.
All right, here we go.
All right, we are back, and I was looking at the list of potential press secretaries. I'm going to read it to you, and this list is from one of those betting markets. I don't know which one, but they have at the top of the list Alina Habba, and then followed by Anna Kelly, who is the deputy press secretary, Jen Pellegrino, Roma Haravi, Stephen Chung, Emerald Robinson, Chanel Rion, Scott Jennings, my favorite, Natalie Harp, Jason Miller, Scotty Neal Hughes, Laura Trump, Carrie Lake, who is probably my second favorite, maybe even my favorite. I think she would be fantastic at the job, but they have her listed at 33-1, followed by total long shots that would never happen. Spencer Pratt, Erica Kirk, and Tucker Carlson. None of those last three would ever, not even, I don't even know why they're on the list. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Carrie Lake would be fantastic at it. I've had her on my show several times, I think 5 or 6 times. And we've seen her handle the press, at least one-on-one, just like a champ, as well as anybody. And she's obviously from the press, so she has quite the experience with all of that. So who knows? We'll see. Again, speculation is fun for a minute, and then it gets boring, and then we just have to sit back and wait for the proper answer, the actual reality to step in. So, with that said, we are talking today about the United States Senate. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is by far, hands down, the most important aspect of the midterm elections. Local elections, now let me preface that. Local elections are always the most important, okay? Like, no matter what. For whatever reason, we as a nation, we have gravitated towards focusing on the national elections, maybe focusing on the state elections and not paying attention. A lot of people have no idea who their city councilman is or who their state legislators are. That's a mistake, because those people have by far the most influence, direct influence over our lives. Your mayors, and one in particular that you should always know, and always make sure you've got the right one. If you're going to campaign for anybody, campaign for the right sheriff. Sheriffs, and it depends upon the county that you're in. Some sheriffs are more powerful than others, but in a lot of counties, the sheriff really does have just a huge degree of influence over your day-to-day lives. School boards, obviously, very important, especially if we are ever able to fully get rid of the Department of Education and return the power to where it should be, which is, of course, in the hands of the parents and the school boards. It should be between those three, with maybe the county and the state departments of education having a little bit of influence, and then the National Department of Education should be gone altogether. That's my humble opinion. But yeah, local elections are the most important. With those said, those are important. But then, here in the midterms, it is the U.S. Senate that we absolutely positively, as Republicans, as conservatives, as patriots, we must make sure that the Democrats do not get control of that. Reason number one, and arguably the biggest reason, is because got some aging Supreme Court justices out there. Let's just call it what it is. And there's a good chance that President Trump will have to nominate one, maybe two, possibly three Supreme Court justices in his final 2 years in office. And you do not want the Democrats to be in control, because guess what? None of them will get a fair shake. We will not get any of his nominees will go through. They will do what's called pulling a McConnell, right? They'll say, well, McConnell, when Barack Obama nominated Merrick Garland, McConnell came out and said, well, it's an election year and we've got to stop. And he was right. Obviously, I believe that. But now that President Trump is in office, now I would say it's wrong. Is that inconsistent of me? You betcha. But the Supreme Court is, as we've learned, hopefully our whole lives, but at least for sure in the last few years, the makeup of the Supreme Court is everything. It is everything. It determines so much. And if the Democrats have control of the Senate, President Trump will not be able to put in a Supreme Court justice that he wants. Probably wouldn't be able to put one in at all. They'll say, well, we'll just have to wait until after the election. Because that's what McConnell said. So Democrats will be like, right back at you, buddy. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, of course, we're having difficulty passing any legislation at all. Even through reconciliation, it's challenging, but we were able to get the big, beautiful bill. We are going to get probably at least one more reconciliation bill done this term or this before the election, Lord willing, and those will be done. We won't have that ability anymore. And that would suck. It's presidents generally, again, since the 70s, have always had 2 years to do something. We have a grand opportunity, a once in a lifetime opportunity to have 4 full years of President Trump with the control, his party at least, in control of the House and the Senate. And it starts with defending the House. With the Senate. The House, I'm a little bit less concerned about at this point. I know that there's a good chance that we will lose control of the House, but I'm okay with that if we can control the Senate. I'm not okay with it at all. That would still suck, but the Senate is by far, hands down, the more important one of the two. And we've got 11 races to go over. 11 races will determine what happens. And we will start with race number 1. Who do we have up as race number 1? We'll start in Alaska. Crazy one. After the break, right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Dan Sullivan, both Dan Sullivans. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
That's a ridiculous story.
It is. It's insane. Quick programming note before Brock sells something. Quick programming note. We are very unlikely to have an episode of the J.D. Rucker Show following Wendy Bell Radio today. And only because, if you guys will notice, I lost my red light. I only have a blue light. You might also notice that I'm smaller on the screen. We had some adjustments to make. My wife, while I took my afternoon nap, my wife, she went in and did what she does, and she cleaned my room just for the dusting aspect of it. And as a result, she moved my camera. She broke my red light. I got to order a new light. This week, I have fallen a bit behind on my chores. I know you're like, that's a terrible excuse, Rucker. But it's a real one. It is. So it was either that. I either skipped my show today or skipped Wendy's show today, and Brock would have killed me. I would be dead, right? I would literally be dead right now.
I'd have hopped a plane.
Tried to skip. Yep.
You
wouldn't have had to. You would have just voodooed me. I would just be like sitting there eating ramen noodles and what, Brock? Dang you!
I'll tell you what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't pay you with gold and silver from WendyLovesGold.com. Get your hands on precious metal, because we've watched the dollar decline, and gold and silver is on its way up. And it doesn't, I don't think it fluctuates as much as everything else. I would feel pretty safe putting it in my IRA or my 401k to get some kind of precious metals in there that seem to be more stable than pretty much anything right now definitely the dollar. You can go there, you can get gold, silver, platinum, palladium, coins, bars, rounds. You can get it in your hands, you can get it in your 401k. WendyLovesGold.com, 855-927-5557. 855-927-5557. Find out how you can get a coin with Wendy's autograph. Find out how you can get, what is there, 6% of silver free. So go to wendylovesgold.com, 855-927-5557, and diversify yourself. Don't be stuck in one way of growing your wealth.
Nice. Another quick programming note, as I'm hoping everybody's aware, the Wendy Bell radio program moves next week 2 hours early. So
Yeah.
7 a.m., right? 7 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Eastern. There we go. I almost screwed that one up.
Yes.
We will be moving Patriot TV to an hour prior to the Wendy Bell radio program. We will be moving the JD Rucker Show to start as soon as the Wendy Bell radio program stops. So everybody's moving, and it's a big moving sale. So I got to get ready for that too, because I've got to adjust my schedule for it. It means that I'm going to have to start doing a show at like 6 a.m., which I used to do it at 4 a.m., whatever.
That's what I was doing all morning, emailing all the radio stations to remind them.
Ginger says I would not be in at 7 a.m. No, mine like again, Patriot TV, the show an hour before. We're going to start at 6 a.m. every day. It is going to be an adjustment, but I don't want to keep it in the same spot, because then we'd be going opposite of Wendy, and nobody wants me to do that. So,
do you rate the stream then?
Oh, every time.
Oh, okay.
She mentions it every morning. It's like she always says it.
Yeah.
Hey, Murtek. Hey, Patriot. Hey, JD. She says that while you're there.
Let's be fair. I listen to Wendy for 5 hours a day. Some certain things slip through.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we raid the Wendy Bell radio program most mornings.
I don't know how to do it, so Amanda's going to have to teach me one of these days.
Just type /raid.
What?
And then that's it. Just put /raid and then the URL of where you're going to raid. That's it.
Oh.
As long as everybody's set. I did try to raid one the other day that wouldn't allow a raid. But that's kind of weird. Why wouldn't you allow a raid?
Wait. Sally, Matt, poor guy. Brock is 24/7, no days off. Brock enjoys what he does. I don't need days off. I worked at a place that towards the end I couldn't stand, and I had over a month's vacation, and I took every damn day. Here, this isn't work.
Back in the days when I used to have a job, I never once took a vacation. I always got paid out my vacation. I always considered it like severance.
Yeah. I mean, mine was paid, but I called them mental health days just to get away from some of the people.
Nice. Nice, and nice. Let me make sure I got this set up right. Yeah, okay. Ooh, that would be a good one. Glitzy says Christina Bob. Yeah, she'd be great. Sage Steele, another one.
Go.
So we're going to add a couple more names, courtesy of Glitzy Glam Fairy in the chat on Rumble. A few more names to the list of people that we'd like to see. I like all these names. Christina Bob. Okay, good one. Sage Steele. She's solid. Brianna Morello. I've worked with Brianna off and on for years, and I think she might be a bit too snarky. She would be very similar to me and Wendy in that she would probably end up throwing stuff by the end of the first day as press secretary, but she's a possibility. And then Laura Logan. No, not at all. Not because I love Laura Logan. We actually were at one point we were going to be working together, and but she talk about getting angry at the press. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The by the end of the first week as press secretary, Laura Logan would go full Hulk mode. She would take the podium and she would chuck it at CNN or Washington Post or somebody. It would be awful, blood everywhere. Anyway, all right, let's go to Alaska. Alaska, as a Senate race, shouldn't even be a question. Okay, Alaska is deep red, but Democrats and some weirdo, they have turned it into a race, not because of policy, not because of making a good argument. And you're going to notice that's the trend, by the way, that they're having challenges making their argument, as Democrats are wont to do. But no, they just happen to go up against Senator Dan Sullivan by finding somebody to go up against him who's also named Dan Sullivan. And as a result, we have a weird one. Now, before we get going on this, I have these broken down into 3 tiers. Tier 1, these are the firewall seats. These are the ones that Republicans should win, shouldn't even be in question, but because it is a midterm election, because it is, 2026, things are weird, things are crazy, things are happening. Democrats are going crazy. Republicans, for their part, aren't doing enough. Okay, I'm going to be ripping on Republicans. If you think this is going to be a Republican love fest, no. A lot of these seats are up for grabs because the Republicans suck at doing what the very basic, which is to nominate good people and to just get the message out. We're failing at that badly. So, but let's start with Alaska. This is no fault to Dan Sullivan. He's just, they pulled a nasty trick on him. And you can follow along if you'd like. We have this article over at AmericaFirstReport.com. Alaska and the curious case of 2 Dan Sullivans. Start with a strange story in the map because it may also be the most revealing. Senator Dan Sullivan is seeking a 3rd term in a state Trump carried by 13 points. His Democrat opponent is former Representative Mary Peltola, who has won statewide before and knows how to work Alaska's ranked choice voting system, which, Lord willing, that will be gone soon. They're trying to vote it out, and they need to. Keep in mind, we only have Lisa Murkowski still there because of ranked choice voting. If it wasn't for ranked choice voting, she would have already been primaried out, whatever. That alone would make this a race to watch. Then a retired Forest Service employee from Petersburg named Dan Sullivan filed to run as a Republican. Now, he's not a Republican, but he's filed to run as a Republican. He's trying to help the Democrats. He's trying to, it's so disgusting. The Division of Elections tried to disqualify the namesake challenger. The courts put him back on, and the Alaska Supreme Court affirmed it at the end of June that both men must appear on the ballot for the August 18th primary, which is now just days away. Election officials settled on listing the incumbent, the actual Republican senator, Dan S. Sullivan, with the notations registered Republican and incumbent, while the challenger appears as Daniel J. Sullivan Jr. with no party label displayed, even though he tried to run as a Republican. Whether that is enough to prevent confusion in a top 4 primary feeding into a ranked choice general election is anyone's guess, and that is precisely the problem. Senator Sullivan has accused Democrats of being complicit in trying to trick Alaskans. And the Alaska Republican Party alleges National Democrats recruited the namesake to muddy the waters for Peltola's benefit. Now, Peltola's campaign denies any involvement in the Petersburg Sullivan, the fake Sullivan. I guess he's really a Sullivan, but he's only there. I mean, he's running because of his name. He says that his candidacy is sincere. He's lying. Let's take a step back and ask the obvious question. In a state where the margin between holding and losing a Senate seat may come down to second choice votes and voter confusion, who benefits from having 2 Dan Sullivans on the same ballot? Not the incumbent, not the actual Republican. This episode is also a standing indictment of ranked choice voting itself, a system sold as empowering voters that instead keeps producing scenarios where the outcome turns on ballot mechanics rather than ballots. I cannot stress enough, Lisa Murkowski would have lost if it wasn't for ranked choice voting. And not to the Democrats. She would have lost the primary. She would have lost Don't get me started, please. Alaskans will have a chance to repeal it this fall. Lord willing, they will. The Sullivan mess is Exhibit A for why they should. If Republicans lose Alaska, the path to 51 gets dramatically steeper. Job one is turnout. Job two is making sure every Alaskan knows which Dan Sullivan has actually been representing them. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be a common theme today. Turnout is everything. And it really comes down to excitement. And this is where the Republicans are failing miserably. And it doesn't make any sense. There should be a lot of excitement. But a lot of the lack of excitement can be pointed directly at John Thune about his inability to pass the Save America Act or even to get it going at all. This is a joke. And it's not a funny one at all. John Thune, who's finally serving in his long coveted position as Senate Majority Leader, is at risk of losing it because of his own actions, his own decisions. If he had at the very least pressed to try to pass the Save America Act, there might be, then you could make the case, hey, we couldn't get it passed because we don't have enough Republicans. Instead, the pitch that John Thune has directly created, the only pitch that we have is, hey, so Republicans have had control of the Senate and they've done nothing with that control. And so they want to keep control because they'll continue to do nothing. How do you get your base excited when you've done nothing for the first 2 years of controlling the Senate? How do you get your base to get other people out to vote if you cannot pass a measure that over 80% of the American people want passed? We want voter ID. We want only American citizens to be allowed to vote in national elections. We want voter integrity. Even Democrats, maybe not Democrat lawmakers, but Democrat voters want actual free and fair elections. Now, I think that if they knew how much cheating was happening and how if it wasn't for the cheating that there would be a much bigger Republican majority in both the House and the Senate, and Joe Biden would never have been president, Otto Penn would never have gotten to sign anything on his behalf, maybe they would change their mind. But they don't know that because they watch CNN and MSNBC, MS Now, whatever, New York Times, all those guys, they are like, oh, no, there is no such thing. Voter fraud is very rare, very rare. We don't even need voter ID. Why would we need voter ID? I mean, it's not like nearly every country in the world believes in that. It's not like voter integrity is an issue. It's not like illegal aliens are voting. Don't look at New Jersey. That was a very small, few thousand. I don't know. Again, if they knew, maybe they would change their tune, but they don't know because they, again, watch legacy media, and legacy media tells them everything's fine. So they're like, yeah, of course, duh. I mean, you got to show your ID to get like Sudafed. Why wouldn't you have to show your ID to vote in an election? You have to show your ID in order to travel freely about the country. You have to show your ID in order to buy a bunch of things, alcohol, tobacco, whatever. I mean, you get people, but, and there's the argument, unfortunately, that we as Republicans have not been able to make sure everybody understands. The argument from the Democrats is that voter ID will suppress women voters, suppress minorities, especially black people. Now they stop it there. They just say it's going to suppress. Now, if you ask them, how does it suppress them? How would voter ID suppress the vote? Well, because, women and minorities, especially black people, apparently are less capable of showing an ID. No, that's not true at all. It's not true at all. I mean, you have to show your ID to get a job. Are you saying that none of them work? You have to show your ID to get an apartment or a home, or are you saying that they're all homeless? It's dumb. It's stupid. But they got to do something. They got to somehow justify it. But do they really even have to? With John Thune as Senate Majority Leader? The common theme, as we demonstrated with Alaska, the common theme throughout the day during this show is going to be that voter excitement is missing for Republicans. The only reason that at this stage we sort of have some good news is that voter excitement on the left is split. You got some that are excited about Democrats, but you got others that are excited about the Marxists. So there's that infighting going on. Okay, well, that's going to benefit us a little bit. And we'll get to some races where that definitely benefits us. But is that enough to retain control of the Senate? I don't think so. I think that we can't depend upon John Thune and his cronies to be able to get voter excitement up. So it's going to be us. I have to come up with something to latch onto. And I have to assume that the something is going to be fear. We have to be scared of what Democrats would do. I think that's a righteous fear. After the break, we're going to move from that part of that side of the country, the far west, over to the far east. We're going to look at Maine right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Oh, my goodness. I have to remain calm as possible, because today could be that day where I just break, where I just, you know what, this is it. I'm going off the deep end. I'm going to declare that I am done with the Republican Party, not the Republican ideas, not MAGA, not President Trump, but I'm done with Thune's shenanigans. I'm having to actually build up my desire to help them, because part of me is like, you know what? Screw them. They can't help themselves. They can't help us. Why should we help them? But then I think, oh, well, yeah, I guess it does help President Trump quite a bit. So
voter ID is not enough. This is a conversation I had last night where a friend said, oh, we have to show ID. I'm like, well, if anyone can get an ID, what does that prove? No answer. They talked about healthcare and the cost of healthcare. And it's like, well, when you have illegal immigrants flooding the healthcare system, of course the healthcare system is going to go up. But then I dropped on them healthrevolution.net. Healthrevolution.net will help you lower your rates 30 to 60% by giving you the health insurance you need and not stuff you don't need. You know, when he talks about Michael using it and being 26 and healthy and not married and not pregnant, so why should he have to pay for that type of insurance? So go to info.healthrevolution.net, info.healthrevolution.net, 800-868-6187, 800-868-6187. If you're under 65, relatively healthy, give them a call. Find out if you can save money on your health care and make it more affordable, because I think, once again, there's one of those issues that everybody can agree on. Healthcare costs are out of control. So check out healthrevolution.net, info.healthrevolution.net, info.healthrevolution.net, 800-868-6187.
Jamie, I tried to scroll. I couldn't find it. So repost whatever it was that you had wanted me to see, por favor, and I will continue to stare at you all. That's me staring at you, not moving my mouth at all. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2.
Wow.
You remember what that's from, Brock?
No.
You don't remember what that's from?
Mm-mm.
Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2.
I would assume it's something like Ron Burgundy.
No, God. No. That's Wayne's World, man.
You know, I've never seen that movie.
All right, guys, we're shutting down early. You all take care.
I mean, I've seen pieces of it, but never straight through. Never straight
Never
through.
seen Wayne's World. You've never seen Wayne's World.
Mm-mm.
Oh. I need a podium to throw. I'm going to throw a podium at Brock through the screen right now.
Wow. Violence is never the way.
For me, it is. Maybe, arguably, the biggest casualty of this particular election cycle is that, for me at least personally, not overall, just for me personally, is that I have to support somebody who I've never supported for years, for decades. I have said, you know what, Susan Collins, she's not really a Republican. She's a Democrat who runs as a Republican. You know, she can be counted on for a handful of votes, but she's no better than the Democrat version. Not by much. It's not worth supporting her. But things have changed. And now the option against her is crazy. And you know, the funny part is that he's crazy, Troy Jackson, and they say he's the improvement over Graham Plattner. But I don't know if that's true. Recent story, I think this came out yesterday. It's got Plattner vibes. This is over at Red State. Major scandal hits new Maine Democratic Senate nominee, and it all sounds so familiar. I'm going to cut to the chase here. Cut to an event or an incident that happened on Wednesday night. Last night, news broke about a violent altercation that Jackson reportedly had in his younger years with another man that landed Jackson in trouble with the law. What was especially troubling, though, however, was that police records at the time indicate that Jackson's romantic partner, whom he's still with, alleged that he pushed her around during the incident. Seems to be a trend amongst Maine Democrats, especially the Democrat Socialists of America. Democrat U.S. Senate candidates comes to us from Bangor Daily News. They would know. They're in Maine. Democrat U.S. Senate candidate Troy Jackson's longtime partner told an officer he pushed her around after Jackson broke down a door and punched a man at a Fort Kent home in 1988. Now, that is a long time ago. So that's not that people, don't have their past crimes, past sins come back to haunt them. But, I'm very different from what I was in 1988. So, but then again, I also never pushed any women around. So, ever. So maybe, I don't know. According to a police report obtained exclusively by the Bangor Daily News, Jackson, who was 19 at the time, so he's a young man, does not dispute the assault of the man, a misdemeanor charge resolved by a fine. But Lena Pelletier, who has been in a relationship with Jackson for roughly 40 years, says she has no memory of making a statement attributed to her by police and denied he pushed her. In a statement, Jackson denied he had ever been violent with her. And what else can they do? I mean, obviously it's true, at the time, at least there's no reason for the young lady to have lied about it. I guess they were in a relationship. Why would she try to get her boyfriend or whatever in trouble with the law? Unless he did something to her. And yes, it's easy to say, well, that's 40 years ago. I don't have a recollection of it. Or I would never have done that, except he almost certainly did. Now, here's the question. Is that enough to stop him? Is this enough to, we got him now? No, it's not. I mean, Democrats in the state knew about some of Plattner's problems before they voted for him in the primary. And he still won by a landslide. Far worse things, by the way, than just, possibly pushing around his girlfriend 40 years ago, a girlfriend who happens to still be with him today. So it's not like, this is the smoking gun, but it does point to and highlights a trend. This is just, I hate to ask, but is this just a common thing? It seems to be more and more we're hearing about Democratic Socialists of America being violent, being aggressive, being in some way having massive major baggage. So is that the attack angle? The answer is, again, no. If we're going to win this, we have to win this through two ways. I've already talked about the excitement aspect of it, the defense of the MAGA agenda, the defense of President Trump's agenda, and the ability to have a Supreme Court that is not crafted by whoever the next president is, maybe a Republican, maybe a Democrat. I don't want to take my chances. If there's going to be an opening, I would rather a Republican Senate take whoever President Trump is able to nominate and gets them across the finish line. So that's option number one. Option number two, and I've long said on my show that I don't think we're ready for this discussion, but apparently we have to have it. That discussion is about ideology. It's about beliefs. It's about not just calling them, they're socialists. Socialists, that's a word that we've been using for decades, referring to Democrats. Now they actually have people that are not just socialists, worse than socialists. So we have to have that discussion. And it isn't even a question of, is this particular candidate a DSA member or a Marxist? If you look at the actual push by Democrats today, all of them, outside of John Fetterman, all of them are pushing the same basic ideology. Now, not all of them are saying they hate Thanksgiving or that football is white supremacy or anything like that, but they are all still on board with men and women sports. They're still all on board with obstruction of the president at every turn. And yes, they are still on board with having authority over us as American citizens. So we do need to have that discussion. We do need to, for example, in the state of Maine, discuss Susan Collins and her rhino tendencies. We have to let them shine even in a state like Maine, because compared to the Democratic Socialist, the Marxist, the Communist, Troy Jackson, even her rhino abilities, her rhino tendencies are good enough. And in a state like Maine, might be the best way to go. All of that and more on when we return to the Wendy Bell radio program. Yes, I cut it close. I'm sorry. He's not talking to me now.
Close. 1 second.
He went off to go watch Wayne's World. I can't believe that, man. That's awful. Did you at least see Wayne's World 2?
No.
What about Wayne's World 3?
What's the point of seeing Wayne's World 2 if I didn't see Wayne's World?
I didn't watch Wayne's World 2 either. But I did see Wayne's World. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. All right, whatever. I'm done with you. I'm gonna go get my roof done. I'm gonna go get a fancy butt job.
No, what you need.
What do I need?
Your schedule changing.
Yes. What do I need?
In your sleep, you need blood flow 7. Blood flow 7.
7. Yes.
That's what you need. That will take care of everything. It'll get you more oxygen to your blood. If you go to bloodflow7.com/Wendy, it'll give you the energy to pick up sticks, to not crash when you go home, to not do a show, then fall asleep. It'll just boost. It'll help you work out. It'll boost your ability to just function throughout the day like you do in the morning. I use it. Wendy uses it. I use it. And since starting to take it, I have not taken a nap. I don't nap anymore. I'm up until 9, sometimes last night 10, which is, I know it doesn't sound late, but for me, that's uber late. So go to bloodflow7.com/Wendy. It says here main benefits. none of this makes sense to me. I just know it works. Increase nitric oxide levels by 230% in just 3 hours to widen arteries and improve blood flow. I don't know about all that. I just know bloodflow7.com/Wendy works. I believe it's 30% off your first order. So check them out. You guys have sent testimonial after testimonial how it's worked for you, which is great. If you ever have a testimonial, want to send Wendy Bell radio@gmail.com. WendyBellRadio@gmail.com. But check out bloodflow7.com/Wendy.
Yes, it is unfortunate that Darlene Graham looks to be. It is. It is a shame. But at least there's a chance. We still have, don't we? We still have a runoff coming, right? So let's see what we can do. I hate going against President Trump on this one, but truth is truth. North is still North, and Darlene Graham, from what I can tell, is as bad, if not worse, than Lindsey Graham was, and he was amongst the worst of all time. I mean, as far as Republican senators,
who?
Lindsey Graham.
Oh,
I know.
He never found a war he didn't like. That's for sure.
Even when there was no war, he'd find a war.
He'd find one. Last night, the guy I was talking to said, he goes, "We're in this forever war." I'm like, you know what? Like, okay, we're in a war, but like, I think it's a little premature to call it a forever war.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about the hyperbolic talk from the right, saying that's hyperbolic. To say this is a forever war after what, 4 months?
6, almost 6. It'll be 6 months in a little over 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tomorrow.
I think forever war. I think Afghanistan.
Yeah. No, this isn't a forever war yet, and it won't be.
No.
Worst case scenario, and I don't want this to happen, but worst case scenario is that this war ends shortly after the election. That's the only thing that they're holding out for. They're hoping that Democrats will win big and that they will somehow force President Trump to end the war. That's it. That's all they're hoping for.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because they're hurting, they're struggling, they have nothing going for them. They tried to be tough with Chinese weapons and Russian weapons, and it's just not working out for them. Their economy is going to collapse, maybe even before the election. So
I think it's already collapsed.
Well, don't forget, they're not looking at the people. I'm saying their person. Yeah. Once they start starving, that's going to be when they actually kick into gear and say, "Hey, maybe we should not starve." Holy cow, we already finished an hour? I only did one state. Son of a gun. I'm going to have to go through faster. Did one state out of 11 in the first hour.
No, 2.
Oh, no, yeah, we're on the second one. I'm not done with Maine, though.
Oh, well, here we go.
We still got more Maine to go. I might have to do a show. That'd be funny. We'll see. I'm going to I'll go faster.
Don't rush on my account. You don't have to rush for me.
1.5 races in the first third of the show. I got it.
Yeah, but did you really talk about Alaska in the first half hour? Did you? That was that bottom segment.
Yeah.
But at this pace, you won't get through 11. I will say that.
I'll speed it up. We'll buzz through it.
All right.
chat.
Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
If you don't use your newfound power, it simply evaporates. It degrades. What's the point? It doesn't grow because nobody becomes afraid of you because you're not using your power. The Democrats invested in Obamacare to the expense of losing the presidency in the House and the Senate. Their return on this is the creation of the belief in the minds of the public that only the government can run things in exchange for this huge leap forward in their agenda. The Republicans simply don't do anything like this. The Republicans, whether they win or lose, are not trying to advance it. That's why Trump was the nominee, and that's why Trump is elected president. The Republican Party used to be the opposition of the Democrats, and it used to be the small government, small taxes, individual liberty party. That's what it was known for. Even before you began talking about conservatism, that's what the party was known for. It's been a long time.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program. From JDRucker.com and the Discern Report, filling in for Wendy is JD Rucker.
Oh, I know I mentioned yesterday. I'll say it again. I do miss Rush. He was so right. Rush was right. And we got to do whatever we can to honor his memory. Honor the memory of people like him and Charlie Kirk and Ronald Reagan. Those who fought. We have to fight. We have to fight against, oftentimes, a Republican Party that is feckless, a Republican Party that just doesn't do what it says it's going to do. And yes, that even starts in Maine. Back to the state, and it's funny. Like I said before, I don't want to support Susan Collins at all, but there's too much at stake. So we'll have to deal with it. Susan Collins is the only Republican defending a seat in a state that has not backed a Republican for president in decades. And the race Democrats built to beat her has already collapsed once. Their primary voters chose Graham Plattner on an oyster farmer. You guys know all that stuff. Nazi Graham. Rather than face voters again, the party swapped in former state Senate President Troy Jackson at a hastily convened convention. No primary, no vetting by the electorate. Collins wasted no time defining her new opponent, telling interviewers that Jackson seems to be firmly aligned with the Democratic Socialists, which he is. He is a Bernie bro. He did back Sanders in 2016. He wants Medicare for all, things that make him a Marxist, a communist. Polling shows the race inside the margin of error, and National Democrat money is pouring in behind Jackson's logger populist branding. That branding is the tell. Maine Democrats have concluded they cannot win with an honest label, so they are running a Democratic Socialist platform under a flannel shirt. Collins has survived every blue wave thrown at her, but there's no margin for error here. A loss in Maine is a self-inflicted wound the party cannot afford. Now, in Maine, it is a little bit different. It's not about just getting the vote out, and it's definitely not just about alerting them or making sure that the people are aware of who Troy Jackson is. Because he came in late, because he has less name recognition, this really is about Susan Collins just going and saying the things that she needs to say to the voters that are going to come out. This is about the turnout. This is about making sure that there is at least some excitement to keep her, and she has to do the crossover thing. I don't like supporting any of that stuff. I don't like Susan Collins, but that's a seat, and we can only afford to lose 4, net 4. If we lose 3 or less, if we lose 3, that's 50-50. JD Vance is the deciding vote, and that's also assuming that we still have Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins herself, and even John Thune as rhinos who may or may not even vote on behalf of what the Republican agenda, the Trump agenda would be. So I don't want to say, we can lose 4 or we can lose 3 and no more. We don't need to lose any. We should gain seats. which is very odd. It's something that I don't think anybody expects. But by golly, if there was ever a time when we could during a midterm election, this is it. This is the one midterm election in our lifetimes. Seriously, most of us. One midterm election in our adult lifetimes that there is a possibility that we could actually gain seats in the Senate. But to do that, we have to make sure that we don't lose seats, such as the one in Maine. Another seat that we cannot lose with a departing rhino, speaking of rhinos, is North Carolina. The narrative is hardening, and this is going to be a tough one. I'll just tell you up front, of all the ones that if we're going to lose a seat for sure, or close to for sure, this is the one. This is the one where there is a very good chance that a Republican-held seat currently will flip. The open seat is being left by Tom Tillis's replacement is the Democrats' cleanest path to a pickup, and they know it. Former Governor Roy Cooper enters with 8 years of statewide name recognition and a fundraising machine. Former RNC chairman Michael Whatley, though he's endorsed by President Trump, started the general election largely unknown outside the party circles. Let's stop right there. He started off largely unknown, and guess what? He's still largely unknown. North Carolina doesn't know who he is. They have done nothing to get him across the finish line, let alone to get him started. I mean, it's ludicrous that in this year with this so important race, this push to try to maintain control of the Senate, that they would allow North Carolina, a state that generally votes for Republicans for the on these national races, the statewide race, the fact that he's even I am very annoyed. And I like Michael Whatley, but he was the wrong guy. He was the wrong choice for North Carolina. And I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but I don't even want to continue this story with this state, because I think it's lost. The only thing that can help at this point is to try to reveal. Obviously, they still have to get name recognition and get people to know who Michael Whatley is. But more importantly, we have to get the state to understand who Roy Cooper is. They should know him already, but he is pretty darn bad. And his record on crime, that's been the tell. Article over at Town Hall. Oh, here's another criminal illegal that Roy Cooper let gallivant around his state. It happens all the time where they keep rolling out. Oh, look, here's another example. Here's another example. I've seen like 15 of these examples over the last year. And yet the GOP is not doing enough to get the word out about him. Somebody's going to have to step up, super PAC or something, because people need to know in North Carolina who Roy Cooper is. Is there any illegal alien Roy Cooper wouldn't have allowed to gallivant freely across his state when he was governor of North Carolina? That's the question. On this issue, he was outright garbage, allowing criminal aliens to roam freely and inflict mayhem and death on the population of the Tar Heel state. Why? Because he got money from anti-ICE groups. And in a state that's tight politically, virtually right down the line on ideology and party affiliation, and where races aren't truly decided until 2 weeks before Election Day, you need all the help you can get. The difference is that these groups are loaded with crackpot leftists. Cooper was a solid pick for the Democrats given his popularity, but it's taken a hit as these stories about his reckless immigration and public safety record emerge. The person of the week that Cooper let commit a campaign of mayhem is named Matias Gonzalez Garcia. If you can see on the screen, that is Matias Gonzalez Garcia. He is a criminal illegal from Mexico who was arrested for assault in Lillington, North Carolina. And he was arrested as a result of being released by Roy Cooper. That's the least of the stories. There are horrible, horrible stories. And that's what the message needs to be. For North Carolina, for Republicans to win North Carolina, it's not just about trying to get Whatley out there. It's trying to expose who Roy Cooper is and what he's done. Because people, they know his name. He was governor for 8 years. They know who he is. They just need to be reminded of what he did. They need to be shown how awful his policies truly were. And that putting him in the United States Senate at this stage, at this time in American history, would be a tremendous, tremendous mistake. Back to the original article. The most recent Fox News poll has Cooper ahead 53-44, powered by an enthusiasm gap with more Democrats than Republicans describing themselves as extremely motivated to vote. No wonder. Other surveys have shown the race as close as 4 points, so the spread is real, but it's not fixed. In reality, I would say, based upon the sentiment that I'm seeing, that there is a pretty big margin that Cooper is way ahead. And well, maybe not way ahead. He's ahead. Maybe not by double digits, but close. And that's a concern. But as noted in the town hall article, this is a state that tends to move in one direction or the other a couple of weeks before. Here's the uncomfortable truth. North Carolina votes Republican for president and then routinely elects Democrats statewide. And Cooper is the reason that pattern exists. Whatley's only viable play is to make the race about Cooper's actual record on crime, on school policy, on energy, rather than the genial moderate image that the former governor spent decades polishing. He's not, I guess by today's standards, like you could say he's sort of a moderate when you compare him to Troy Jackson. Yeah, I guess he's kind of a moderate, but still, he's not right for North Carolina. And he's definitely not right for the United States Senate. So we got to do what we can to get him out. Every week that passes without that definition, the definition of him being a disaster, without that definition taking hold, is a week that Cooper banks. Inflation is the top issue for North Carolina voters, and the party of trillion-dollar spending sprees should not be allowed to run a front-runner campaign on vibes. Get the name out, Michael Whatley. Get the voters excited about opposing Roy Cooper. Then and only then do we have a real opportunity to beat the Democrats and hold this particular race. After the break, we're going to go to another Republican seat that is at risk. That's the state of Ohio, right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. I'll be right back. Are you there? Talk to me, Goose.
Yeah, I'm here.
Talk to me, Goose.
Yeah.
You're not there.
I'll tell you what the North Carolina's people could use if they
I'm not here.
I'll
be back.
Roy Cooper. Simkovich Concussion Institute, because something wrong upstairs. If you have traumatic brain injuries, concussions, headaches, you're not supposed to have multiple headaches a week. Go see Doc Simkovich at the Simkovich Concussion Institute and find out if he can give you your life back. I know Wendy talks about it and I talk about it because it's firsthand. We see it. Our friend Diane, who went and saw him, who had essential tremors, 85% better. That's life-changing. So go to SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com or 412-366-3700, 412-366-3700. See if he can help you out. See if he's helped athletes. He's helped our friend. He's helped a lot of people out there. One guy got kicked from Alaska, got kicked by a moose or an elk or something like that. He came down with traumatic brain injury and headaches and concussions, and Doc Simkovich in a week was able to help him out. So SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com, 412-366-3700. People come from all over the country to see him, to see if they can get fixed without the medications, and which are just hiding the symptoms of what's wrong with you. He actually fixes what's wrong. 412-366-3700. I don't know if JD's there or not, so
I'm not here.
Since he's not, let's do another one. Another one
Just
that's
getting
going
out
to
there.
another one that's going to make you feel good. Healthy Cell. Get away from big pharma. Healthy Cell will do it. We take the immune boost in the wintertime. Knock on wood, we haven't been sick. There's the bioactive multi, which is iron and omegas and calcium and vitamin D. There's the REM sleep, which helps you go to sleep, helps you stay asleep. But when you get up in the middle of the night to pee, helps you get back to sleep. And you wake up refreshed. So Wendy takes the calm for when she wants to throw people down the stairs. She takes the focus and recall. So she's alert for the show. She's giving it to her kids for the SATs. So go to healthycell.com/Wendy. Healthycell.com/Wendy. You can make your own little bundle. You can buy it by the box. I swear by it. I know Wendy does. I'm so anti big pharma, and their formulas taste good too. It's not like taking medicine. It's they really taste good. So healthycell.com/Wendy.
Good stuff there.
Thank you.
Sorry to make you do two.
That's okay. Get them out of the. I hate to say, I hate to phrase it like this, but get them out of the way and get as many people that can hear it as possible. You know. I think I only have 2 left to do.
Thumbs up, by the way. Thumbs up, everybody.
All right. Yeah, Rumble, follow. We're so close.
So close. So close. There is another state that we are challenged by. That's the state of Ohio. You know, J.D. Vance was able to get rid of Brown, but then J.D. Vance was tapped to be vice president. So we brought in someone else. Now Brown's back. Brown's wanting technically not his seat. He's wanting a different seat, and we're gonna try to get him out there. And it would to be fair, to be accurate, it wasn't really J.D. Vance that got him out, but still, yeah, we can so say what we will. Ohio is a test of whether elections mean anything at all. Ohio voters fired Sherrod Brown in 2024. 15 months later, he launched a comeback bid for the state's other seat, the one that John Husted was appointed to fill when J.D. Vance became vice president. The special election winner serves out the remainder of Vance's term and must run again in 2028, which means Ohioans are being asked to hand Brown a 2-year audition for a job that they just took away from him. AAR polling from June shows that Brown is at 48% to Houston at 45%. Other surveys actually have Houston winning. This is going to be a tough one. I mean, this is a very important seat, and I hate to dwell on it because there's not much to say. We need it. We need this seat. We need to defend all of the red seats. And this is one of those ones where there's no overarching strategy. There's no secret to this one. We just got to get the vote out. Ohio, as a state, is unfortunately, it has been very up and down, left and right. It shifts with the wind. It's been called the bellwether state for a lot of elections for very good reason. If we can hold this one, I would argue that it's the bellwether for the entire U.S. Senate. If it looks like we're starting to lose this one, then we could lose the whole Senate. And here's why. When you're looking at, state by state polls, that's obviously the most important part when it comes to whether or not a candidate is going to win in a state. But nationwide sentiment within the GOP has a great and an extremely important role to play in the selection process, in being able to maintain control of not just the Senate, but also the House. And for Ohio to be, another battleground, that's not news. What is news is the fact that somebody who lost has an opportunity to come back and try to win again. Ohioans already rejected him once. And it's time for them to reject him again because I wouldn't say that he's the most disastrous of the candidates out there. Obviously, there are DSA members running, and we'll get to some of the most awful candidates here in a minute. But he's a representation of the old guard Democrats trying to maintain something. Now, I have long said that we need to not try to play 4D chess, that we can't try to be like, okay, well, let's hope that the Democratic Socialists take over the party, because then we'll be able to beat them in the future. That's just not the direction that America's heading. We are, as a nation, unfortunately, the older generation is getting older. The younger generation is also getting older, and they tend to be more Marxist. If you look at the polls, as far as their opinions on the world, their opinions on what's happening, they tend to be crazy. So stopping people like Brown is just as important as stopping somebody like Troy Jackson. We can't let the Democrats get or regain a foothold with their own party any more than we can allow the DSA to hold that foothold. The having this break between the two, having them fighting in this Democrat civil war, that's what we should be pushing for, which means that it makes our job easy. We just have to win every election, every single one of them. And I know that's not possible. I'm not naive. But Ohio is one that I personally would love to see stay red, because it is a bellwether. It is an example of which direction the sentiment is heading. And in a midterm, you would expect it to fall. The polls are showing a close race. And unfortunately, Sherrod Brown is very charismatic. He's able to make people like him, even when they shouldn't. But he's already lost once. And I'm thinking that he can lose again. The states that we're going to be talking about next are stress tests. These are the states, the red states, where we really shouldn't even have to worry about them, but we do. We have to find out, can we keep a hold of, for example, Texas? And as much as I say, Ohio's the bellwether, Texas is, to me, the most important race of all. And I'll explain more about that when we return right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Could you hear my dog? Was my dog coming through the mic?
No.
Okay. I apologize for that entire segment. My dog is at the door trying to get back in, and it's extremely, extremely annoying. I had to let her out at the last break, and now she wants to be let back in. So give me a second. Do you have anybody else to talk about?
I can talk about people all day long.
Talk about somebody, and I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, I get to talk about Kelly Morgan at morgainsfitness.com. Check out the 90-Day Ignite program. Transform your life. Learn how to eat. Learn how to work out. Do the exercises the right way. Get your body composition. Get Kelly to give you your life back. Watching what you eat isn't enough. You have to exercise too. Stay healthy. Stay fit, so you can run around with your grandkids, that you can show up here every day. We don't want to be losing anybody. So go to morgainsfitness.com. Kelly's a badass. She turns a lot of people into badasses. This one I know this is Wendy's favorite. This one is just nuts. And obviously that's longer than 90 days, but it's dedication. It's sticking to Kelly's plan. It's working with Kelly to make sure you're eating right, and you're exercising, and you're doing what you need. Check her out, morgainsfitness.com. Check out the 90-Day Ignite plan. And, a lot of these places are getting your life back, getting control of your exercise routine, getting control of what you eat. Break up with Little Debbie and start eating the right way and start working out. Kelly can help you with all that, with the body composition and the health eating plans and the exercise plans. Go to moregainsfitness.com, moregainsfitness.com.
They call it the butt ad.
Yeah. The butt ad.
I haven't had a gym membership in 30 years. I think it's time.
You don't know Jim, you call him James.
Yeah, I just go to the James.
It's been so long. That was a bad joke, Friday joke.
That was a horrible joke, but it is what it is.
Well, it fit in with bad joke Friday. No bad joke Friday tomorrow, no good news. Good news is JD's back for one more day.
Yes, and we're going to have a more diverse. These long stories, I think it'll lose people. I think people don't want to hear so much about it sometimes. Today was a self-indulgent story.
Sometimes you have to dig into stories.
I got to dig into this one because while I have the opportunity, I got to wake as many people up as possible about the Senate. Because if we lose the Senate, that truly demolishes the second half of President Trump's term.
I can't imagine anyone voting for James Tallarico.
Technically, he's winning in the polls.
Well, if you believe the polls.
I don't, but
I think you see a lot. I think we're seeing a lot of people responding to polls like they did the first Trump, where they didn't want to say anymore. They're just tired of it. I'll tell you what you want to hear, and they're moving on. They're not telling you what they're really going to vote. I think people are tired of polling. I mean, we get a kick out of Harry Enton, but
I've never been polled once.
You know what? As many people as you talk to are the people who say, I've never been polled. I've never been polled.
Not a single time. I love the thumbnail today, by the way.
That was made by Demanda.
Great job, Demanda. That's a perfect one. Stop the Democrat takeover.
I think that was yours, Demanda. I don't know. We send them back and forth.
I don't know if anybody noticed, but President Trump's cape is a flag. It's great. It's good. It's good.
It's supposed to be Captain America.
Yeah, but you got the flag behind him. I know that's not part of his cape, but it's still.
Yeah,
still
that was
waving.
hers. That was hers.
That's good. That was good. I like it a lot. Oh, thumbs up.
I had him as Superman. She said, change it to Captain America, and I thought it was a good idea, and she made it. Every once in a while, she comes up with one. Halfway home.
All right. We're going to pick up the pace here. Got to get through these because there's still many states to talk about. So let's buzz through them. Unfortunately, this next one is, to me, the most important one. It is Texas. Texas is the one that we absolutely positively cannot lose. Absolutely positively cannot lose Texas. Because it's more than just, it's one seat. No, it's more than just one seat. It's the seat. This is the one where if Democrats ever win the seat again, and they haven't won it since the 90s or the 80s, it's been forever. If they ever win this one again, this will be a symbolic victory that will drive so much, I don't know, bad will. You're supposed to call it goodwill, but I think that that today's Democrat Party, it's all either bad will or worse will. So yeah, Texas, the seismic scenario. Ken Paxton did something that no one had ever done. He defeated a sitting Republican senator from Texas for the nomination, dispatching John Cornyn. Praise God for that. But now he's got to face James Tallarico, who is a 37-year-old state representative and seminary student who beat Jasmine Crockett for the nomination and immediately branded the general election the people versus Ken Paxton. Look, I get it. Paxton's got some baggage, but so does Tallarico. And Tallarico's baggage is the type of baggage that will affect him, affect us, affect Texans, and affect Americans if he were ever able to get into the United States Senate. And it's worse than just a bad vote. He's a bad dude. His perspectives on the faith make him, and I've said this before, make him to me the most dangerous potential senator out there, because it's not just that he's leftist. It's the fact that he represents himself as a man of God. And yet he says that there are 6 genders. He says that God is what is it? Multi-gender. I don't even remember what the verbiage he used, but it was awful. He says that Islam has taught him so much. This is as an alleged seminary and alleged pastor. So the damage that he can do if he were to be elected to the United States Senate is unparalleled. This is, in my humble opinion, the most important race. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's the most dangerous, but when you consider that it's Texas and you consider his ideology and what he represents, super, super important. He is young, he is telegenic, he is fluent in religious language, and sitting on a mountain of national money. Some are saying that they might end up spending $500 million on this race when all is said and done. My goodness. Paxton, for his part, calls Tallarico the most extreme radical the Democrats have ever nominated, and that's true in the state. I mean, this guy is to the left of Beto O'Rourke. Come on, man. The voting record backs the charge on border security, on energy, on parental rights. This guy is the radical's radical. Strip away the seminary polish, and Tallarico is a progressive running in a state that rejects progressivism every 2 years. So you'd think there'd be no chance, right? Except, unfortunately, there is. Texas should be a Republican hold, and the fundamentals say that it will be. But early polling has been closer than comfortable. And a Democrat winning a Texas Senate seat would not merely cost Republicans 1 vote, it would detonate the entire map and almost certainly deliver the chamber to Chuck Schumer, if Chuck Schumer is even still the Senate leader for the Democrats. You don't know. It's not a for sure thing. Paxton's assignment is to reunify a bruised party and keep the spotlight fixed on Tallarico's record rather than his own controversies. There's no room for a grudge-nursing Republican in Texas this fall. And now, unfortunately, John Cornyn really does have some influence within the state party. He really still has his backers, even though he lost horribly, even though President Trump has opposed him, even though I have opposed him. I mean, when you got President Trump and me opposing him, he should be toast, but he's not. He's still around. And he's still, unfortunately, a thorn in the side of Constitution and freedom-loving conservatives. So keep an eye on that state. No, look, this one, I don't need to complicate things and give you all a strategy. Just get out and freaking vote, okay? That's it. Just expose Tallarico, expose his heresy, because he is a heretic. Expose his heresy, expose the fact that he probably is a vegan, even though he pretends to like meat. He doesn't drive a truck. He had to borrow somebody's truck to get it to do his campaign ads. He doesn't wear a cowboy hat, even though he does in his ads. He doesn't wear a Texas flag shirt. I'm sure he bought that at Target the day that he was running those ads. He's a pretend. He's a fake. So please, Texas, come on. We shouldn't even be talking about this, but we are. But I have faith that Texas will do us right and make the right decision. Now, Iowa's a different story. Iowa should be safe, but there is, again, challenges, and this I can definitely blame on the Republican Party being just worthless sometimes. Joni Ernst's retirement opened a seat that should stay red without drama. Instead, Iowa is a legitimate toss-up. Representative Ashley Hinson carries Trump's endorsement and a fundraising edge, but Democrat Josh Turek, a state legislator and two-time Paralympic gold medalist, has assembled the kind of profile that gives red state Democrats their occasional breakthrough. He won his primary over a progressive rival by running to the middle. He represents a district that Trump carried 3 times, and Barack Obama endorsed him the moment the nomination was secure. The numbers should end any complacency. A Fox News poll in early summer showed that Turek was up 50 to 46, while the latest Emerson College survey has Hinson up 3 inside the margin of error. The polling average is a functional tie. Democrat enthusiasm in the state is outrunning Republican enthusiasm, and that's just not just in the state, that's nationwide, and it's got to be fixed. And unfortunately, we don't have John Thune doing the things to fix it, so it's going to be up to you and me. We've got to get our friends, our relatives, anybody to get excited, not for the sake of having the Republicans do anything, but to stop the Democrats from doing anything. That's it. That's the pitch across the board nationwide. Republicans might be feckless, but Democrats are dangerous. President Trump needs a Republican majority. And even those who may oppose President Trump directly can at least acknowledge that the Democrats, the direction they're heading, is dangerous. It's scary. Turek's favorability sits well above Hinson's. Another knock. Of course, gold medal winning Paralympist. So there's that. Iowa has not elected a Democrat senator since 2008, and the way to keep that streak alive is to treat Turek as the serious threat he is. Tie him to the national party whose money is funding him and force him to answer for the tax hikes and spending his caucus would demand of him in Washington. You know, we have a clip. I was meaning to play this earlier, but I didn't. And I want to go ahead and play it now because I think this highlights the truth about what's wrong with the Republican Party. Let's play. This is Leland Vittert and what he says about why people are voting socialist. Let's play clip 1.
The most important thing Republicans need to keep in mind is why people are voting for socialists. And yes, it's because a lot of people don't like America. They think America's evil. They think America owes them something, and they don't believe that they're getting it. Nevertheless, the reasons that people are now starting to feel that Medicare for all makes sense is because they're bankrupt because of healthcare. The reason that all of a sudden free childcare and socialist utopia sells is because, as has happened in every other society, there is a fundamental feeling of unfairness. And the fact that Republicans are basically laughing at it and saying, you don't know how good things are. And by the way, look at all the socialists who are a bunch of Islamists. It's bad politics. People are hurting, and laughing at them and just saying, well, you're stupid for voting for this other side is not a way to win.
100%. Absolutely correct. The messaging so far has been abysmal. It has not been appealing. It's almost as if somebody took hold of GOP strategy and said, hey, let's just throw out memes. This isn't what won in 2024. We made fun of Joe Biden because he was easy to make fun of, but things were bad back then. And it's easy when you're on the opposition side. We're not on the opposition side. Republicans have control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. So trying to point fingers and make fun of people, not the winning strategy. We need to be focused on explaining why they're bad, not just saying that they are. When you're in control, you can't just say, oh, they're awful. Because right now, a lot of people are hurting. A lot of people are struggling. And whoever's in control, when people are struggling, they're the ones that get the blame. This is why Iowa is up for grabs. This is why Texas is even close at all. It's not because, they just threw out some great candidates and we threw out some bad ones. In many cases, it's the opposite. There shouldn't really be a question in a lot of these states, but there is. And it's because the messaging from the Republicans has been just just god awful. It's the worst I've seen, and I've seen some bad messaging. Don't even get me started with the Mitt Romney years. That was awful, but it still, I mean, thanks to Obamacare, the Republicans were still able to take control of the Senate and eventually take control of the House, even during the Mitt Romney years. So I don't know what to tell you. I can't convince you that, this will be easy, because it won't be. It's going to require doing something that isn't going to be like trying to get the GOP to do something with John Thune in control, and even to some extent with Mike Johnson in control. We can't expect it because it's not going to happen. So who's going to control the messaging? I've said this, 5 times now? It's going to be us. It's going to be you. That's why I'm doing the show today. It's not because I think, if the GOP does this or the GOP does that. I'm doing this show today because I don't think the GOP will do anything. Not when it comes to the election. I think President Trump will do what he can, but he's one man, and he's got a war to fight. He's got a lot of things going on. Can't just sit back and babysit the Republicans. When we get back, we'll talk about Nebraska, another state that definitely shouldn't even be in the mix, and yet it is. Nebraska. Really? Sad, but true. All that coming up after the break right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. I have to admit, I don't even know what happened with Pete Ricketts. This one really shouldn't be so close.
What, Nebraska? Can't hear you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
my wife's at a doctor's appointment, so I'm taking care of the dogs. I'm taking care of my youngest, and I'm also doing the show today. So crazy. Do you have any more spots to do?
Why do you need to go?
I got to go check on my kid.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. You weren't paying attention to me. I was just explaining all that. And
you have to take care of your dog and your kid. I
didn't
get
even
it.
know that we do a raid in the morning, every morning on the Wendy Bell radio program. That's crazy.
Oh, here we go.
I'm staring at you, though.
Yeah. You too can also try the healthy fat. This is what Wendy drinks every day. She's just finished the watermelon lemonade. The blueberry, I think, is fantastic. It's like a meal supplement. She drinks it through the show, so where she's not hungry and eating during the show or eating right after the show. She's told you the story about the gentleman, Dr. Stephen Gundry, behind it. It's called caloric bypass. We call it the healthy fat. He lost 70 pounds on it. He's worked with, I think he may be over millions. His videos gotten over 20 million views, and his videos are pretty interesting. I've seen them for other things too, telling you what foods to avoid, what foods to eat, not eat, to help you in your weight loss journey. Go to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. She likes it. I think it's tasty too. And a lot of these drinks, I mean, I've tried a lot of them. They're chalky. They don't taste good. This one actually hydrates your body because of the water, and it tastes good on top of that. So go to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy.
Sorry to eat on air.
See, if you took the healthy fat, you wouldn't have to. Just saying.
That's pretty funny. Stephen G says that my stare reminds him of the DJT mugshot. I need to try to. I'll try to duplicate the mugshot for tomorrow's stare.
Others say it's creepy.
Huh?
Others say it's creepy. You could get one of those backgrounds for a mugshot. You know, the police thing where it tells your height. Wow, we're almost 2 hours in already.
Got Nebraska.
So no JD Record show after this.
Nah, it doesn't look like it. If I can get through all of these. Yeah. It is a catch-up day. Not as in like Heinz.
Good thing you didn't say Hunts. That would be sacrilegious. All right, here we go.
Nebraska is another state that shouldn't be up for grabs, and yet it is. It's another state that should be firmly in control of the Republican Party. I mean, Trump won by a landslide in the state, and yet here we are in 2026 defending it from an upstart, from a quote-unquote independent who's actually just a Democrat. Dan Osborne nearly toppled Deb Fischer in 2024 by running as an independent while Democrats conveniently declined to compete. He is back, this time against Senator Pete Ricketts, and the choreography is identical. The Democrat who won the party's primary has pledged to drop out and clear the lane, leaving Osborne a one-on-one shot at Ricketts with the entire anti-Republican vote consolidated behind him. Recent polling shows the race tied, or even with Osborne slightly ahead, despite the fact that President Trump won the state by 20 points. Let that sink in, though. No poll shows the Republicans pulling away. Osborne's fundraising has matched the Ricketts operation, and his Union Hall populism plays well with voters exhausted by both parties. But the independent label is a costume. On energy, on regulation, on the border, on the judges, he would confirm Osborne caucuses with the Democrats, functions exactly like a Democrat, and the nation's party's eagerness to clear his path tells you everything about who expects to benefit. Ricketts has the resources and the state's fundamentals on his side. He needs to win cleanly and early and remind Nebraskans that a vote for a man with no party label is a vote for Schumer's math. For those who don't know, another famous independent is Bernie Sanders, technically speaking. Well, I'm going to go, before we move on to the next state, I want to play a clip here real quick. This is one that I think really nails it as far as what's going to happen, what we're faced with if these people get elected. Let's go to Greg Gutfeld on clip 2.
Left-wing chicks are more dangerous to women than the criminals that prey upon them, because it's the left-wing chicks that let those people out, let those people roam, let them have no bail because, race. Look, I want to talk about the decline in these crime stats, because it is good news in the sense that we finally emerged from the post-George Floyd hell. Thanks to the hysteria directed at cops, we saw a 40% drop in police stops and arrests for obvious reasons, and that led to a homicide spike of 54%. So now actual police has rebounded because we knew it was necessary, but the people that hated them realized they needed them in their neighborhood. Arrests went up almost 40%, homicides dropped 32%. Add to that, we're replacing progressive prosecutors with tougher DAs. Where did those progressive prosecutors come from? You know where they came. So the take home is this. There was so much unnecessary, avoidable death created by a cowardly, agenda-driven media and politicians who were cowed by BLM activists. Do you want to go back to that? Because if you elect these people, you're going to have 2021 all over again.
Yeah, he's absolutely correct. It's funny. I've been playing more Greg Gutfeld. I'm not a fan of Greg Gutfeld, but I've been playing him more and more, finding that I agree with him a lot lately. I'm going to try to squeeze in Kansas for the break because Kansas is a state that it's really not as up for grabs as the other ones. But there is one major challenge with it, and that's the fact that Adam Hamilton, the founding pastor of the largest United Methodist congregation in the country, won. He is the Democrat that's running. And I don't know if I would call him a radical. He's radical when it comes to his faith. That's for sure. I mean, how many pro-life Christians should there be in this world? Don't get me started. But he's excellent at raising funds. And this is the only reason why, between the fact that he's a supposed man of God, but also he's able to raise so much money. He was able to raise a state record $3.7 million in the first 62 days as a candidate. $3.7 million in a state like Kansas, really? Yes, he is a threat. He is a legit threat, but not by much. Of all the races that we're talking about today, this is the one that I'm least concerned about because I think that Senator Roger Marshall remains a heavy favorite. I think he's going to win, but we got to throw it in there. We got to talk about it because we can't just assume that crazy things won't happen. This is the midterm election. Marshall's response to all of this was characteristically blunt. He told Fox News that Hamilton is too woke for Kansas, and he is. Again, allegedly a man of God. He's been sharing the pastor's own sermons with voters, and that should settle the question. He's probably right about the outcome. This is probably going to be a victory for Republicans. But don't assume. If you're in Kansas, don't assume that you're locked in. Kansas is generally safe, but this time, probably not. There's a chance, and especially when you get some money behind it. Here's the thing. Democrats, when they start to smell blood, and Republicans, same thing, especially the dark money, the super PAC money, when they think, we're within striking distance, maybe if we throw an extra 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, they have very deep pockets. And they can actually make a difference even late in an election. So don't take this one for granted. Now, we can actually play offense, we being the Republicans. We have that opportunity. There are states that we could actually flip from blue to red. I know it sounds crazy in 2026, but it is possible. And we'll be talking about those in the next hour right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Oh, Brock. Did you get all your things done?
I did. I'm going to run to the bathroom.
You run to the bathroom. I got to run to the bathroom at some point.
Go ahead.
No. You go first. I'm used to this. I can hold forever. God has blessed me with the bladder of champions, even with 1, 2, 3. That one's empty. 4 drinks. Yes, I usually go in with 3 drinks on my show, which is 2 hours. I figure for a 3-hour show, we'll do 4 drinks just in case. And I didn't even finish my 4th drink yesterday, so that's good. And yes, before anybody asks, all 4 drinks have caffeine to various degrees. I have my regular black coffee, which is I get from Promise Grounds. You can get to them at jdrucker.com/coffee. I have my iced and chilled Celsius, and technically I have 5 drinks because I have a backup Celsius. If I finish this one, then I have this one. And then I have my 2 iced espressos, 4 shots in each. So 8 shots of espresso. And that is how I do it. That is how I drink. And yes, I can usually, not every time, but I can usually make it through the entire shows without a restroom break. Now, after the show, it's like, if you've ever seen A League of Their Own, okay, when Tom Hanks enters the scene, and you have Rosie O'Donnell, man, that's some great peeing. Yeah, that's me after the show. But during the show, I'm fine. Just Stay steady. Don't think about it. I'd be a good truck driver. imagine Rucker the truck driver. Let me do the static stare. Can you imagine that guy as a truck driver? Me neither. All right. Oh, yesterday's show, I got a after yesterday's JD Rucker show. During the show, we did a focus. I was talking for probably 30, 45 minutes straight about artificial intelligence. And I got a call yesterday after the show from somebody who has been watching. A call. Well, they were able to get my phone number. I'll explain that maybe. But the call came in from somebody who does have some influence, we'll say, when it comes to artificial intelligence. And my premise, the thought with this, with AI is that it's not so much that we have to worry about Skynet, right? We don't have to worry about flying robot dogs with machine guns. We have to worry more about what if AI works? What if it just everything goes hunky dory, and then all of a sudden we become super ultra mega dependent on it? The reason I bring this up now, while we're waiting for Brock, is because there will come a time, unless something catastrophic happens with AI or with the world or with anything like that, there will come a time where even truckers are not safe. I think it was it Logan? I think that Wolverine movie where they had automatic driverless truckers. Here's the thing. If we get to that point in society where it is safer, anybody who's seen iRobot, like, they thought he was crazy because he was trying to drive manually, right? Could that happen to us in our lifetimes? Could that happen in the next couple of years to where most cars on the road are automated? I don't know. But I will say this, that the person who called me was basically saying, hey, you're right. And we need you to sort of stand down about it because it's going to happen either way. And there's no need to get people riled up before it does. Which is why next week on the JD Rucker Show, we're going to be talking almost every day about artificial intelligence. So be sure to check that out, not just for my show, but also we'll be on immediately right after the Wendy Bell radio program, even moving 2 hours earlier. We will be starting at what is that? That'd be 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, that'll be good. Because then my day will be, I'll be able to just shift everything around. I think that'll be fun. I would be a good soap opera actor. I would be Dr. Dirk Doolittle.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Soap operas. I don't even know what.
Yeah, we weren't talking about soap operas.
What's that?
We weren't talking about soap operas.
That's how I got my name.
Say again?
That's how I got my name.
General Hospital?
No. My mom watched Young and the Restless. And the one son's name was Brock.
I see. Oh. Trying to think of what my name would be. What about just JD? That's a good soap opera name, isn't it? as the squirrel runs. Squirrel.
All right. Here we go.
Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program. From JDRucker.com and the Discern Report, filling in for Wendy is JD Rucker.
Oh, it's such a blessing to be here. I can't believe we actually made it all the way through the week. Tomorrow is my last day guest hosting for the Wendy Bell radio program, and I'm already bummed. It's like I got to figure out how to make tomorrow's show so awesome. Today was very self-indulgent in a way because I'm taking advantage of the audience, taking advantage of the expanded audience, bigger audience than what I normally reach, and hitting you all with. I know this isn't the most exciting stuff. I get it, but it's important. It's necessary. It's the kind of talk that this nation needs. And maybe I took it a little bit too far by talking about all 11 states, but I don't regret it. I will say this though: tomorrow we're going to have some fun. I'm not going to talk about elections, not going to rip on Republicans. I probably won't even rip on Democrats too much. We're going to have a fun one, a fun show. But today, still got some medicine to take, and that has to do with retaining control of the United States Senate. And one of the, I wouldn't necessarily just say most important, but also the most dangerous of the candidates. I've always go back and forth. Is it James Tallarico or is it Abdul El Sayed? Which one would be more destructive to America if he were to be in the United States Senate? It's a tough call. But the difference, though, is that if we were to lose Texas, that would be a loss. If we were to lose Michigan, it's already a seat that we don't normally control. So we can only win there and benefit from it. Obviously, we want to stop Abdul El Sayed. He is a radical. He is amongst the worst of the worst. Maybe the worst of all. And as a matter of fact, to show you that just how bad he is, here's a clip that it's going to get stuck in your head, and I apologize up front. It's going to be really bad, but it's necessary. And since we're dishing out medicine today, I'm going to dish out some Abdul El Sayed medicine. Let's play clip 5.
Here's the mail, it never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail. Mail! Thanks, mailbox. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. I wonder who it's from. Oh, it looks like my ballot. Brought to me by my Secretary of State. And with it, I can participate in democracy. The first day that I can turn this in is June 25th, but it has to be postmarked by July 21st. Or I can drop it off up until Election Day, which is August 4th. Thanks, Secretary of State. Thanks, mailbox. Votes could do, we can't do.
It's going to be stuck in your head all day, maybe even tomorrow. And I apologize, but you had to be warned about how bad it is. That was actually surfaced by Laura Loomer, of all people, and she found that one, got it out there. Kudos to her. If one race can decide the chamber, it is Michigan, and Democrats just made it winnable. It wasn't before. It was one of those states where it's just too hard for Republicans to win, but this time we got a chance. Are you telling me there's a chance? Yes, there is. In the August 4th primary, Progressive Abdul El Sayed defeated Representative Haley Stevens, which I don't know if it's necessarily. She was pretty awful too. Not just her politics. She was just a weirdo. Okay. I don't know. This is a gift. We should take advantage of it. She was the establishment favorite, despite being outspent more than 8-1. The El Sayed was. The National Progressive Movement is celebrating. Republicans should be celebrating harder. El Sayed has called for abolishing ICE, championed Medicare for all and the Green New Deal, and proposed public ownership and strict regulations of AI infrastructure in a state desperate for investment. He once described Michigan manufacturing in terms his own primary opponent used against him as writing off the state's dying industry. Against him stands Mike Rogers, who I like. I don't love, but I love him if he wins in this particular case. His former FBI agent and House Intelligence Committee chairman, who came within a whisker of winning the seat in 2024 and has run statewide before. Early general election surveys give Rogers a modest edge, and independents appear far more open to him than to his opponent. Trump carried Michigan in 2024. No Republican has won a Senate race there in 3 decades, but no Democrat nominee in 3 decades has handed Republicans a contrast this stark on crime, energy, the border, parental rights. If you can flip Michigan and the Democrats' path to a majority, all but evaporates. Now, 2 very important things to consider. First, let's talk about El Sayed. He's not just a radical, he is an Islamist. He has made it very clear, that his allegiance is to Allah. Now, look, I'm all in favor of people expressing their, holding their own religious perspectives, right? I'm a huge fan of freedom of religion, but I'm also a Bible-believing Christian, and I consider his religion to be challenging. I wouldn't stop him because of his religion, but I would stop him if he were to try to upend the Constitution. And the way to do that would be through Sharia law, which he has declared that he does personally commit to Sharia. Now, does that mean that, he's going to usher in Sharia law if he's in the Senate? No, not necessarily. But it also doesn't mean that he won't try. The challenge with James Tallarico in Texas, for me, is that he is a heretic, which means that I have to apply the same lens to somebody like Abdul El Sayed. And when I do that, when I look at him, when I hear his rhetoric, I see 2 things. Number one, I see, obviously, very devoted, both. He's devoted in his devoutness. Anyway, he is a devout Muslim. And there are others in Congress, but not in the Senate. He would be the first. That does change things, changes the calculus a bit. The other aspect of it is that he is a devoted Marxist. His ideology is radical. He does not claim to hold the mantle of the Democratic Socialists of America, but he agrees with them on nearly everything. He is a DSA member without holding the card. He is a Marxist without having the mantle, because he still accepts and takes the love from people like Bernie Sanders and AOC. He still campaigns with people like Hassan Piker, for those who don't know, he is the ideological leader of the Marxists. He is their go-to guy. He's just a podcaster, they'll say. He's not real, but he's He's the one that speaks at every single event. And while there are Democrats out there that oppose him, that speak out against him, because, this is the same guy that said, oh, America deserved 9/11. He's that guy. So some Democrats are willing to speak out and say, yeah, we don't like him. But others have embraced him, including Abdul El Sayed. He was even given an opportunity after winning the nomination. He was given an opportunity to denounce Hassan Piker and his destructive anti-American rhetoric, and he refused to denounce him. He will continue to campaign with Hassan Piker. But there's another takeaway, another thing to take into consideration, I should say, when it comes to Michigan. I've long said that there are certain states that are hubs for voter fraud. We know about Wisconsin, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Georgia, which we'll talk about here in a minute, Arizona. But one of the biggest ones, and arguably the one that is most prominent, is Michigan. It's the one that, if you recall, when President Trump was talking about voter fraud, about stolen elections, about trying to engage in voter integrity, the only place that he called out specifically was Michigan. So don't assume that, don't worry. Michigan, which is just rarely votes in Republican senators, but this time they won't vote for the Democrat because he's so radical. If he's close, he being Abdul El Sayed, if he is close at all, I think that the machine will kick into effect. I think that they will try to steal this election on his behalf, on the behalf of the Democratic Socialists of America, on behalf of trying to stop President Trump's agenda. The establishment might not like him, but he's what they have, and they will try everything they can to get him in, even if that does mean cheating. Now, I would argue, by the way, that they tried to cheat him up front. The race shouldn't have been that close. Polls show that he was up by double digits, and yet he barely won. Did they try to steal it from him already? And now they failed. Are they going to try to stop him, or will they propel him over the top? We will see. Do not sit and rest on the fact, oh, he's a Marxist, he can't win. It's Michigan. He could win. After the break, we'll go to the aforementioned Georgia and look at that race, which it's an uphill battle, but it's not out of the question. We got a chance there. We'll see how that goes. Right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. I can't believe I'm actually going to make it. That's insane, but I'm actually going to make it. Brock, are you there? I lose you. I lost Brock. Oh my gosh, I lost Brock. Does anybody know where Brock went? I'm probably still in the air, aren't I? I am probably still talking on the radio, and people are making fun of me because Brock is...
They're making fun of you for other reasons other than talking on the radio.
Nobody can hear him. Nobody can see him. He's not there. He's just a static image. Where'd you go? I was kidding.
No, I don't. Do you have to go to the bathroom or?
No, you can go. Do you have to go again? Didn't you just go last time?
Yeah. No, I don't have to go.
Why do you have to go again?
I don't.
Well, then why did you mention the bathroom?
I asked if you needed to go. It's like talking to a woman.
I am a woman. I already told you. I'm Wendy Bell. At the end of my last name.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. You got nothing to say about that, do you?
I'm leaving that one go.
Say again?
I'm leaving that one go.
What? Are you saying that I can't identify as Wendy Bell?
You can do whatever you want. I don't think anybody's going to buy it. But you can do whatever you want. Once again, no pet show this weekend. No weekends with Wendy this weekend. If you were in the fantasy football league last year, I reactivated the league, so they should send you an email. So check your email. If you don't want to be involved this year, please tell me. and we'll find some other people.
What in the world is this?
But
It's Fox News. Dejanay Carrington hits 2 more players across the face. What is she just trying to be like an equal opportunity thug? I don't get it. What in the world? Hold on, I got to play this clip.
no one can hear you when you're
That's
playing that
actually
clip,
bad.
though.
Jeez.
We're almost 2.5 hours in. Today's show has gone fast.
Today's show's what?
Has gone faster than the other ones. Still only 856 rumbles.
Oh no! Get your butts! Come on, please, 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 please! I can't have one day with it. Oh no, it's gonna happen. Today's the day. It's because I was talking about the Senate. I knew I shouldn't have talked about the
And
Senate.
tomorrow, and we are 750 away from 1,000. So hit that follow button. Tomorrow's Fire Friday. Someone gets fired every Friday. So your head's on the chopping block if you don't get the rumbles.
Who do we fire?
Could be you.
Oh, it's me.
It's never Michael, her son, who does our social media.
It's gonna be me, isn't it?
Nepotism.
I'm getting fired tomorrow.
Possibly after the show. It's like any other firing where they wait till the end.
I haven't been fired in weeks. This is great.
That long.
I mean, it's been a couple of weeks. Just a quick note, because I thought this was funny. I'm reading, I go to check Fox News during the break, and apparently, I guess that she's an equal opportunity thug. Dejanay Carrington hits 2 more players across the face after receiving the technical foul for hitting Sophie Cunningham. It's such a joke. This league is a joke. It's so bad. And I'm not generally one that rips on any sports that I don't watch, and I've never watched the WNBA, but my gosh, what are these guys thinking? All right, let's go to Georgia. John Ossoff. Ossoff? Just as long as he's off. He is the most vulnerable Democrat incumbent on paper, defending a seat in a state that Trump carried in 2024. In practice, he has built a fundraising fortress approaching $80 million raised, and the early numbers favor him. A Fox News poll taken just after the primary showed Ossoff leading Republican nominee Mike Collins 56-43, and an AARP survey in July had the margin at 9. Not good at all. Collins, a trucking company owner and congressman, won the nomination by beating Kemp-backed Derek Dooley in a June runoff after President Trump's late endorsement, proving once again that Trump's word is decisive in Republican primaries. The general election is a different animal. Collins' combative style energizes the base and repels exactly the suburban Atlanta voters who decide Georgia elections, and Ossoff will spend 9 figures reminding them of it. The Republican path exists, but it requires making the race a referendum on Ossoff's votes rather than a personality contest. Ossoff's got a great personality. I'll just tell you up front. Ossoff is one of those really likable guys when it comes, as likable as a Democrat can be. He comes across, it's not quite like a Gavin Newsom, but similar in that regard. So he's dangerous, and he's going to be tough to beat. And as I mentioned before the break, Georgia is a place that has, we'll just say, a tendency to have strange things happen on election night, especially in Fulton County. But anyway, so the Republican path does exist, but it requires a national environment to improve. Win Georgia, and the entire Senate math flips overnight. Lose it narrowly while leaving votes on the table, and the party will have no one to blame but itself. To be clear, this really should be 2 Republican seats, but ahead of or during the last stolen election, There was also the runoffs in Georgia, where both Ossoff and Warnock won, and they shouldn't have won. I don't think they did. I think they were both stolen. And do I think that they're going to steal it again? Do I think that Ossoff, if it's close, that he's going to have it stolen for him once again? Yes, I do. Which means that somehow, some way, we have to make it, just like in the 2024 presidential election, we have to make it too big to rig. There has to be a big reversal here. Ossoff has to be exposed as the radical that he is, because he is a radical. He might not have the same DSA credentials as some of them out there. He's not Bernie Sanders per se, but for a state like Georgia, Georgia should be a full-blown red state. For a state like Georgia to even consider him, that's not good. Now, you will look at certain areas of Georgia that are, vast pockets of Democrats. This is where the voter fraud happens. Again, Fulton County is the ultimate example of that. We can't defeat that. We can't stop that without, of course, the Save America Act. And even then, the Save America Act wouldn't necessarily address the type of voter fraud that they allegedly are doing in Fulton County. I mean, that's a manufacturing of ballots, even if those ballots are technically illegal. So we will see. But I really want this one. Of all the blue states to flip, this is the one because, again, it shouldn't be a blue state. I mean, it is when you look at the Senate race, but again, President Trump carried it. How can they have both Senate seats when it's a state that it's an SEC state, so to speak? Okay. This is a Georgia football state. This is a state that should be solidly Republican. John Ossoff may not be the most dangerous guy out there on the Democrat side, but he is a Trojan horse when it comes to radical Democrat politics. I've talked about the dangers of people like El Sayed and Talarico. But if I am going to flip one seat and one seat only, this is the one. John Ossoff is a disaster. He's a disaster for the party. He's a disaster for America, and he's a disaster for Georgia. Unfortunately, I don't know if Collins is the right guy to beat him. So we shall see. Oh my gosh, we are so close. I've got one more state to go. That's New Hampshire. Sorry, North Carolina. That one's not up for grabs. New Hampshire. We will be talking about them and that particularly awesome, potentially flippable seat when we return to the Wendy Bell radio program. Yeah, I actually have the song stuck in my head now. I shouldn't have had you play it. I'm sorry to anybody who's got to suffer through that.
What song?
The El Sayed song. Okay, you're on your own. I'll be right back.
Something's wrong with your mic.
Yeah. It happens every time when you switch over. It's really weird. All right, I'll be back.
Okay.
Juggle or something.
I'm trying to.
Can you juggle?
Yes, I can.
All right, do that.
I have nothing to juggle though. The Blues Clues. I didn't know. I'd never watched Blues Clues, so that El Sayed, I kind of tuned it out. How ridiculous! If that's not the ultimate talking to your voters like they're children, I don't know what is. Yes, please don't forget Monday we switched 10 to 1. Amanda, I watched it all the time when I was a nanny. You just were watching. It's good programming for you. I don't understand not just the liberal mindset. One of the things I talked about with My friend last night was the hatred from the left, and I said I didn't understand it, and he was like, I don't know what like it's he did what they all do. It's both sides. And I said, well, not really, because I don't know, you guys celebrated Charlie Kirk's death. You celebrated it. And you openly talk about in his area the Minocqua Brewing guy who's free beer if Trump's dead. I said it doesn't make sense. He's like, well, Don Jr. made fun of the put out a Halloween costume of Paul Pelosi after he was attacked. I'm like, if you thought the Paul Pelosi thing is like, who breaks into someone's house where the glass is on the outside? I said, whatever. I'll give you, okay. People make fun of Joe Biden. There's a difference between a joke and you actually meaning it. His people did not take to that very well.
The glory days.
What's the glory days?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. I was telling them about the conversation I had last night.
Gotcha.
Where I had said, that the vitriol from the left is, I don't understand it. And he said it came from both sides. And it's like,
gotcha.
No, it didn't. No one celebrates. None of us like Joe Biden, but I don't think anyone would celebrate him dying.
No, definitely not. We are still getting screwed on front page. For whatever reason, this just started yesterday, but they've realigned the podcast section to where we're no longer put on the front page. Nobody is. It's like it's manually done. Like generally they do it by most views at any particular moment, but right now, for example, the number 2 podcast has 24 viewers. Number 3 has 30. It doesn't make any sense on the podcast section on the homepage. So I'm saying all this because we need the thumbs up. We are
desperate. We have more viewers than all of them combined.
I know. And yet we're not on the homepage, which really, really hurts our ability to get thumbs up. We need like another 110, 120. So go get your friends, family.
No, we need 98.
We need 98 of you who haven't thumbed up to thumb up. If you've already thumbed up, don't thumb up again, because that will thumb down. Only do it twice if you've thumbed down. You can thumb down twice, but don't thumb up twice. That would be bad. Yeah, this really stinks because and we got pushed off of the editor's pick really fast too. With Timcast, really? Timcast pushed us off? Yep, I'm annoyed, but we can do it. I know y'all can do it.
Half an hour. 25 minutes.
Reminder, no JD Rucker show after today. Or after today's show. We'll return tomorrow, but I got stuff to do for the wifey.
Not me. I'm going to go home and work.
Well, the end is near, folks. No, not for the United States of America. God forbid. But the end may be near for the Republican majority. We have 11 races that we've gone through today, 11 races that will determine who controls the United States Senate for the final 2 years of President Trump's term, second term. But I am confident that if we do what's necessary, we as in you and me, that we can overcome the feckless GOP, the weakness of John Thune, And when I say weakness, let's be clear. I think John Thune is compromised. I do. We know that Mitch McConnell was compromised. He was compromised by the Chinese Communist Party, by Big Pharma, by the military-industrial complex, and probably others. John Thune, we don't know as much about him. His allegiances haven't been made as crystal clear as his predecessors, but we can say with a near certainty that he is beholden to the uniparty swamp, which is, of course, beholden to, you can call it the powers and principalities, you can call it the New World Order, you can call it the globalist elite cabal, but they are not working towards the best interests of the United States of America. And unfortunately, I do believe that John Thune is one of their lieutenants, or whatever you want to call it. He is a puppet, a pawn. And so if you think, oh, you know, the math just doesn't work out for the Save America Act, that's not true. It's not true. He can make things work. He is the quote unquote Senate majority leader. He keeps saying, oh, well, shouldn't these other people be? No other people should be doing anything. You should have not gone on recess. You should have not. You should be doing everything in your power to get this thing over the finish line. Susan Collins already flipped. She already is willing to vote for the House version. So why is John Thune saying that the math doesn't work? Yes, he would have to get rid of the filibuster. Rally the dang votes. Figure something out. Do some manipulation with committee assignments. I don't care what you do. But don't tell me, oh, you can't do it. You can do it. Don't throw math in my face. I can count 250. And with Vice President J.D. Vance, you can make 51. You can make it happen. But he's actively and aggressively working against it. John Thune is, in my humble opinion, worse than Mitch McConnell, which is saying so much, and I didn't expect it. I knew he'd be bad. I didn't realize that he'd be this disgusting, this anti-American. John Thune is not a patriot. He's not a Republican. And he is actively working against the United States of America. Sorry for the rant. Let's finish off with the final state, that being New Hampshire, the final of the 11 states. We need to make sure that we have a better than a net 3 loss. We can afford to lose up to 3 seats net. I think that we can win some seats. I think it's possible. I think we've demonstrated that there's a chance in almost all of these 11 states for the Republicans to come out on top. But again, we can't rely on John Thune. We can't rely on even the GOP strategists. They seem to be doing just horrible. And I don't think for them, I don't question their integrity. I don't question their allegiance. I just think they've got some really bad strategies, and for whatever reason, they're not applying the winning principles, the winning standards that are necessary to get us over the finish line. But let's talk about New Hampshire. Ah, yes. Jeanne Shaheen's retirement opened a seat in a state that has not elected a Republican senator since 2010. And Representative Chris Pappas begins with the structural edge, but the Republican field is unusually credible. Former Senator John E. Sununu, who held this seat 2 decades ago, leads former Massachusetts Senator Scott Brown decisively ahead of the September 8th primary, and President Trump has now endorsed Sununu, consolidating the party early. Polling shows Sununu running within a few points of Pappas, with one survey showing a dead heat. Again, this is New Hampshire. It shouldn't be on the table, but it is. Call it what it is. It's a stretch race rather than a must win. This is a nice to have, but my gosh, we'll take whatever we can get at this point. Stretch races serve a purpose. Every dollar the Democrat machine spends holding New Hampshire is a dollar unavailable for Michigan or Georgia. And if a wave develops against the party in power in Concord and Washington, Sununu is positioned to ride it. Republicans should contest this seriously and without illusions. So let's bring it home. We have a firewall. It either holds or it doesn't. If you add it all up, add up all the numbers that we've talked about today, Democrats need 4 seats. Their most realistic path runs through North Carolina, which at this point, I would say they're probably going to win. They're probably going to flip Tom Tillis's old seat. Maine, which if I had to pick, I think Susan Collins is still going to win that one. It is what it is. Ohio, that's one that they are probably, I don't know about probably, they're more likely, I guess, which is the same as probably, but you get the idea. I think it's leaning in the direction of Sherrod Brown, but we'll see. And then one more from either Alexis, Iowa, Nebraska, or God forbid, Texas. I don't think that, I still think that, I mean, are the voters that dumb that they're going to get confused by the name Dan Sullivan in Alaska? Yes, it's possible. And that is not against Alaska. That's just against the electorate in general. We can get easily confused. And I think that in this case, they might be able to confuse enough voters with their fake Dan Sullivan. Texas is not the one that we want to lose either. But they can still hold Michigan. They can still hold Georgia. And in that scenario, those 3 that are likely and one of the 4 that are toss-ups, if they can keep their other 2 states, that means that the Democrats will have a 49-51 advantage. That means that they will have control of the Senate. That means President Trump's agenda is pretty much stalled. It means that if there is an opening for a Supreme Court justice, that President Trump will not be able to pick the replacement. He may try. I'm sure he will try. But if the Democrats are in control, they will not put that person up. They will stall. They will find ways to prevent it. It will be, again, the Mitch McConnell playbook. Mitch McConnell used this to block Merrick Garland ahead of the 2016 election. And Democrats will return the favor. Again, call me a hypocrite. I supported it back then. I wouldn't support it now. Generally, I like to be consistent when it comes to things, but in this one, I won't be. I want President Trump either way to pick the next however many Supreme Court justices are there. And keep in mind, I want that to be the case even if a Republican were to win the 2028 presidential election. I would rather President Trump get one more, mainly because his first 3 were just bad. I want him to have on his record at least one strong constitutional originalist, somebody like a Samuel Alito, somebody like a Clarence Thomas, instead of his Supreme Court legacy being Barrett, Kavanaugh, and Gorsuch, who are, I mean, at best, they're lukewarm. And that's on a good day. So, yeah, I would love to see President Trump get at least one more in there and make it a really good one. He's talked about Ted Cruz. I don't know. That might be a really good one for him. Anyway, back to this firewall. The pattern across all 11 races deserves a name. In Maine, a Democratic socialist wears a logger's flannel. In Nebraska, a Democrat-blessed candidate wears no label at all. In Texas, a progressive wears a seminarian's collar. In Alaska, the confusion is literal. 2 men with the same name on the same ballot, and the party that benefits shrugs and calls it democracy. The left has apparently concluded that its agenda cannot win these states honestly presented. So it will be not honestly presented. They can't just take us on with their ideology, with their belief system, with their policies. They have to take us on with tricks and schemes and lies. Abdul El Sayed is a liar. James Tallarico is a liar. Troy Jackson is a liar. Now, I'm not going to say, oh, but Republicans never lie. I'm not saying that. I'm saying these guys, especially Tallarico, he's one to lie about anything. I mean, he said that he's been with his girlfriend for 4 years, but he also said that they didn't start dating. His campaign had said they didn't start dating until after she had left his office. She was his chief of staff. But then when people started calling out, hey, the math doesn't math, they're like, oh, actually she worked for him, and then they started having feelings for each other, and then they started dating, and then she left. They just switched it up a little bit. They switched up the timeline ever so slightly. They did it on a Friday. Nobody's calling him out for it. I blame the Republicans for that. We have opportunities to call out these Democrats for their lies, and we're not. And again, it makes no sense to me, which is why I repeat myself for the 15th time. Don't expect the GOP to fix this. You have to fix it. I have to fix it. We have to get the word out about all these awful Democrat candidates. We have to get the word out about the Republican candidates, that many of them are still not very good. Michael Whatley, if you were to ask your average person in North Carolina, hey, what do you think of Michael Whatley? Their response would be, who? And that's sad. Counter strategy is not complicated. To find one of these candidates by their actual records before the branding sets. Turn out the voters who already agree. And treat no seat, not Kansas, not Nebraska, not Texas. Do not treat them as automatic. Send is the last institutional check on a movement that has told us exactly what it intends to do with unified power. 11 states get to decide whether the check survives. The votes will be counted in November, but the work happens right now. We'll bring it home after the break. And we'll talk. There's some, again, the news out of the WNBA is kind of funny. We'll talk about that and get ready for tomorrow's final show, for me at least, when I get back right here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Do I still have any clips? I do have clips. We're going to use those clips. As a matter of fact, we're going to do both clips. Since I did so few videos. We did, what, 3 videos today?
Yes.
I lost Brock. He wasn't supposed to get fired till tomorrow. But apparently... no,
I'm in control right now, so I get to pick who gets fired.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
okay.
And I can independently confirm right now it will not be me.
Well, you're a handsome man.
Well, your flattery will get you nowhere, but
you're powerful, man. Powerful and handsome. Clearly, you've been using that butt stuff because your butt looks great.
Now I know you're lying. Because I have no butt.
Ow. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do clip 3 and clip 4 today.
Okay.
All 5 clips. It'll be awesome. It will
Stephen
be awesome.
A is pretty long, so you'll have to get to them.
Say again?
Stephen A's pretty long, so you're gonna have to get to them pretty fast.
Why'd you have to go there? Why'd you have to say that? That's just weird. Oh, you mean the video?
It's all I can speak about. I can't speak of other things.
You can speak about whatever you want. It's a free country.
For now.
What's on your hat? Is that Tennessee? What is that?
Yeah.
I can't see it. Tennessee? Wow, you're a Tennessee fan?
The 3 of Wendy's kids go to Tennessee now.
Josh Heupel.
So the rule is I get something from every school that her kids go to. Or visit. So like I got Clemson stuff because that's where her oldest went. I didn't get anything from Jack because he went to a film school. So I don't know how much merch they had. But Tennessee, I've raked it in. I got hats, visors.
Film school
No, I don't
is
have
Wayne's World hats.
I do not have a visor. I told her I wanted a Tennessee dog collar. Got 2 golf shirts from there. Kind of like by default, I've become a Tennessee fan. No, Brock is not an Ohio State fan.
Oh, crap. I forgot to check the chat.
I really don't have a college team like that. I can be my loyalty can be bought with hats and golf shirts and.
Well, Josh Heupel has a new quarterback this year. So.
No, Brock doesn't need a goosey hat either. Trying to find a hat I like to make a Wendy Bell radio hat.
Say again?
Trying to find a hat that I like and make it into a Wendy Bell radio hat. But I'm very picky on my hats. Like women with shoes.
Fresh Filipino noodles. That's what we're having.
Huh?
Fresh Filipino noodles.
So ramen noodle?
No, I don't know. It was protein pasta. That's what we had last night. Protein pasta.
All right.
Low carb. With the sauce that my goodness. I can't believe I still only have one more day. I'm very sad by this because you all have been such a wonderful audience. But you've heard enough from me. I'm going to turn the show over to a couple of people. One that I like, one that I don't like, but it doesn't matter because both of them are talking about the truth. First one is Representative Tim Burchett. And I want you to catch what he says. Something he says sort of casually that is actually a big deal. Let's play clip 3.
Out. I think we're too complacent sometimes. I think we need to start tooting our own horn just a little bit because the president has given us some great things. And J.D. Vance, of course, with his taking over of the DOJ efforts. I chair the DOJ committee, as you know, and we can't seem to get out of our own way and do things like codifying the president's executive orders. My gosh, those are some really popular things. And yet we've failed to do that. I put several into bill form to get them passed. I found $1 trillion in duplication and yet we can't seem to pass these bills. Yeah. And I just think we need to do what we said we're going to do. President Trump won overwhelmingly because of his message. Congress did not win overwhelmingly because our message was diluted. And I think we need to address that.
Yeah. $1 trillion in federal duplication spending. $1 trillion? Are you kidding me? How's that not like huge news? How's it like just getting mentioned in passing? You don't hate Washington, D.C. enough. You really don't. I love Tim Burchett. I'm not blaming him. But he does what he can. He's one of my favorites on Capitol Hill. I love him. I'm going to turn to somebody who I don't love. I don't even like him. In many ways, can't stand him. But he's offering some love to Republicans, even though he's a Democrat. So he gets to make an appearance here on the Wendy Bell radio program. Let's play clip 4.
J.D. Vance knows how to handle himself in front of a camera. He's younger, he's sharp, he's articulate. Marco Rubio has been a longtime senator, is the Secretary of State, Director of National Security, whose credentials are pretty freaking impeccable. Both of them articulate themselves very well. In Rubio's case, he's bilingual, of Cuban descent, and that ain't gonna hurt him. There's hope on the horizon once Trump leaves office. On the Republican side, say what you want about DeSantis, he's an executive. I got some issues with him, can't wait to interview him, but I got news for you. He's an executive, and I don't hear too many people complaining about the state of Florida, and I ain't gonna be no hypocrite. I moved there. Rubio, his nationals, his foreign policy experience, being the Secretary of State for this country, very articulate, knows how to deal with combativeness, bilingual, got an Hispanic populace out there that respects the hell out of him. I think Rubio's the real deal. I think Governor DeSantis is the real deal. These are formidable candidates that will stand in front of any Democrat believing they can eat them alive. Do you think Kamala Harris or AOC can deal with them? Gavin Newsom can argue against anybody. Sounds smooth as hell. Right up until the minute you look at California and its affordability issues, and then all of a sudden you change your mind.
He's not wrong. And he forgot the best candidate for 2028, a candidate who has not announced yet, who's teased a run. That is Donald J. Trump. He's just joking. I'm just kidding. But I wouldn't put it past him. Of course, we'd need a constitutional amendment, but you never know. Hey, stranger things have happened, as he has said. Tomorrow's going to be a very fun show. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to go to work immediately as soon as I finish some chores. I'm going to go to work immediately to make tomorrow's show fun, because you all sat through today. You sat through this show, which I know today's episode was sort of, I guess, surgical almost. Clinical, not surgical, clinical. It was very dry, talking about candidates and races, but it was necessary because we have a nation to save. And it starts with the most important portion of the midterm elections, outside of local elections, of course. The most important component, which is maintaining control of the Senate. Do I expect the Republican Party to be doing anything if we retain control? No, I do not. Not as long as John Thune is the Senate Majority Leader. But do I expect Democrats, if they were to take control, to do massive damage to the country? Yes, I do. Do I expect them to do massive damage to the Supreme Court by withholding any appointments by President Trump? Yes, I do. Do I expect them to pass any negative legislation if, God forbid, if we were to lose control of the House as well? Well, then every bill, the only thing that would save America would be veto after veto after veto after veto. It would be disastrous. It would be ugly. They would have so much control over the spending, over the budgets. I don't know if we would make it to 2028, and that's not hyperbolic. So thank you for sitting through this clinical version of the show. Tomorrow, we will be getting creative. We'll be we'll be having some fun because it is Friday. And I want to thank you all for staying with me. This week, it has been, again, the most fun I ever have is when I do a week guest hosting for Wendy Bell. So until next time, God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And come back tomorrow for the final episode of JD Rucker on the Wendy Bell radio program.